What is going on, everybody? It is episode 323 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host who is back. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I am happy to be back. The weekend was definitely a crazy one for the books. You might have known this already, but I was on a podcast called Whatever, where we talked about dating, a lot of stuff that we don't talk about on Pop Culture Crisis, so it was fun.
Did you have a good time?
I did. It was interesting. I guess a lot of people like maybe want to hear about it, but I feel like, we need to keep Pop Culture Crisis pop culture related.
Pop culture again.
But if you guys have questions about it, then super chat your questions, and then maybe we'll address it there.
And we have guest hosts today who are sitting in different seats, and frankly, it's freaking me out. To my left, please introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Hannah Claire. I'm a writer for timcast.com, and I swap seats with Carter.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Carter.
Nice mustache. I like it.
Thank you.
He's in the club, the mustache club.
It's looking good.
I was shaving last night, and I was like, this looks really dumb, but maybe I'll keep it.
It's almost a goatee.
I think you should keep it. I think it's like a crime that men don't experiment.
It's a negative of a goatee.
It's almost a goatee.
I said that.
Well, it could have been.
I said that if he had his flannel shirt on, I'd ask him where his banjo was. He could be in a folk rock band.
That's
it's like an
bluegrass.
Alternative Carter. Yeah.
Bluegrass Carter.
Also, I changed my mind, Brett. You're too quiet.
I'm too quiet?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Or everybody is too quiet, including me as well. Sorry about the technical difficulty.
That better?
Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds better.
The money guns are working again.
Yeah, I think people should super chat if they like Carter's mustache. Or if they hate it. Just let
There's
us know.
somebody named whatever in the chat. That can't be.
I don't know.
I am going to read this first super chat from Trudy Jones. Great job on the Whatever podcast, Mary.
Thank you. Wow, that's a big super chat. Thank you.
Keeping it going because I want to, anything over $20 we will read. We will interrupt our discussion to read. So,
which is an idea that we actually stole from Whatever.
Yes, it is. And I'm double checking to make sure, the crisis, the meter is working. It's just literally reset because it's $100. So it reset the crisis meter. So it should go off.
The first party should go off soon then.
Somebody said I'm turning into Brett. So you have a handlebar mustache?
Are you gonna match Carter's mustache then?
Eventually, yeah. No, actually I won't because hold on, I'm fixing the audio here.
Brett should just shave mutton chops, really vintage 70s thick mutton chops.
I mean, I could
that
go
would be
and
awful.
Awful, but in the funnest way.
I'd been shaving before and it just ran out of power halfway through.
Oh yeah,
and you get stuck.
I've had that happen. It's a weird form of panic where you're like halfway through and you never do it evenly. It's not like you shave half here and then half here.
There's no mirror image.
Nobody prepares for that.
Thank you.
So funny.
Carter's the closest to the music today. So. Woo! Batman. Everybody should go watch Batman Forever.
Oh, is this the one that you did for Vera?
Yeah, well, it was so good I left it for a week. Plus, we had such so much going on. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, and great. I'm not even in the range now.
Yep,
the scene is really nice.
There's a bunch of money on you can see it in the PTZ shot right there. There's a lot there.
I just got cashed out.
Yes, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about here today, guys. As a mutton, literally look at this. Money's covering my subjects that I have everything listed. We're good.
We're not complaining about
We're going to be talking about leaks from Marvel. They are trying to subpoena records from Reddit so that they can get the name of a user who leaked script information for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, as if there was any type of spoilers in Marvel movies that you don't already see coming from a mile away. So we will talk about that. We're going to talk about what was Rainn Wilson's name back when he was doing his weird climate change thing. Rainn, I'm a weirdo with a long name because of climate change Wilson or something like that. Do you remember?
There was this AI that generates a climate change nickname for you, but I forget which. Oh, maybe his was Acid Rain.
Yeah, it was something like that. But then it was 3 parts to it. So we're going to be talking about Rainn Wilson. He decided to quickly and then unquickly, he defended Christianity in a way. He called out anti-Christian bias in Hollywood. And then like a scalded dog, he ran the other way and walked back his claims saying oh, hold on. I'm not saying I'm Christian. I'm just saying that there's anti-Christian bias in Hollywood. It was very lame. So we're going to talk about that. We're we're going to talk about the Ozempic Oscars. In this case, it's Jamila Jamil had a lot to say about Ozempic and unrealistic beauty standards and toxic dieting that goes on around the Oscars. And this came into conversation because Mindy Kaling lost a suspicious amount of weight before the Oscars. Personally, I think she's just embarrassed about having to talk about Velma with other people, but we'll get into that. Also, TikTokers are
got a
mad.
super chat.
Yes. We'll go right into it. So, Mary,
Disco Jensen said, "Saw Mary on whatever. How's it feel to know the future generation of would-be mothers are lost? Brett, would you be open to watching and reviewing an anime, movie, or short series? Hi, Hannah Claire and Carter." That's kind of a doomer statement, but
how do you feel about it?
I felt bad for them.
Yeah.
I hope that they know I wasn't saying things just to be harsh.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely think that like they could make better decisions in life.
Unfortunately for most people these days, I feel like any amount of a lot of people are so not used to dealing with that type of conversation in the real world. Most people have their arguments online. So when you have that type of discussion with a person in the real world, they get as defensive as they do on the internet. So I don't know if they're going to walk away gleaning anything from it, but hopefully they do.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Can only hope.
Yep.
It's unlikely, though.
But also today, guys, we were going to talk about TikTokers. They are mad because there's a big conspiracy, according to a couple of them, that Big Pharma is keeping them from getting their Adderall prescriptions, and as a
They're giving them placebo
yeah.
meds.
Well, personally, I think this is how the government's trying to get rid of TikTok. They're just like, we'll just starve them out. So we're going to get into that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you guys are ready, we'll get right into it. Mary, are you ready?
We're ready.
Hannah Claire.
I'm ready.
Carter.
I'm ready.
All right. We're going to get right into it to start. So first things first, this is the worst type of activism. It's activism with ugly, naked people. I don't like it. So
Why do these women just think that if they take their top off, then that's going to like cause like some actual political change? Has that ever happened?
No, but it's like it's become like at least in America, it's like a cultural thing where it's like streaking. I do remember vaguely. I could be misremembering the character.
It's the French women that do it though.
Yeah.
It's the women in France. They're always taking their tops off when like a new war starts that they want to protest.
I've always thought about
France.
what the repercussions would be if you were to do that during the Super Bowl, but with a sign.
Ask
like,
Janet Jackson.
Would it be worth it? Like if you were trying to advertise something and you just had to take the streaking in front of all those people crime.
Well, I can tell you.
There's a guy who like famously has gotten onto a bunch of NFL fields. I don't know if he's streaked.
No, the guy
on
who
all them.
he pretends to be like a worker or something.
He's
I know
done
you're talking
tons and
about.
tons of different ones.
But it's not just football. He got into like the locker room of like a pro football team and said he was like the team trainer.
Yeah.
He's like famous for like
he's banned from like several big sports.
But if you act like you belong there, people will just believe
They
you.
do.
Yeah.
Do you remember Antifa Athena or whatever she was called? She like was the one that like got like straight up buck naked and then sat down on the road in front of a bunch
I saw that picture
of like riot police.
So this lady is trying to save the green belt, which is a conservation act going on in Canada right now.
And Avril Lavigne is going to do what about this?
I also like that Avril Lavigne's like, screw the environment, and told the lady to get the hell off the stage.
Well, it's in writing. It sounds like she was very angry. She's like, get the F off.
Right.
Yeah.
B word, but she was laughing, so
Yeah.
she took it in stride.
It's
Also,
funnier
what are
if
you
she
supposed
just
to do? Be like, oh, I'll stop talking for this semi-naked woman. Like, she probably
Yeah.
wants this incident to keep going.
It's funnier if she actually just hates the environment. Avril Lavigne's just really anti-environment and just really, really wants to destroy the green belt.
Like, drill, baby, drill.
Yes.
Like she's just she spends all her money on investing in oil companies and stuff like that. Like that's the
She
cooler
refuses
alternate
to
reality.
use paper straws.
Yes, like the cooler alternate reality is that she buys gas guzzling SUVs and only drives around in SUVs, not because they're roomier, but because she just doesn't like the environment.
Yeah,
I
think that the topless protest is sort of worn out because women will take their tops off for pride parades. They'll kind of do it for whatever at this point. So
They'll do it for Mardi
more
Gras.
of it is a
Well, you get beads for that, so that's
they're rewarded. Yeah, I think more of it is this idea that like they believe their bodies are shocking to people, and it's like
So
it's
not.
not the way you.
That's
think
really
it is.
funny because it's like totally against like what they're saying.
Yeah,
in what way?
People that, well, I mean, I thought we were trying to normalize being topless.
They're like free the nipple, but also
if it's not
be shocked and
shocking,
offended
right.
by my nipples.
They can't pick which one it is. Like, is this a shocking
needs to
protest,
be one.
or is it super normal for women to, like, you hear this tangentially attached to like breastfeeding arguments, right? Like, you shouldn't be shocked by women who are breastfeeding. Like, it's natural, which, like, of course it's natural.
But is it
Doesn't mean you
natural
should
in a
just do it
Walmart?
everywhere?
But is it natural in a Walmart? It's always at Walmart.
It's weird that in some cases the topless women believe they are weapons of protest, in other places they're like part of the celebratory culture of
Like
whatever
a chameleon.
live
what
event
you're
they're
saying
at.
is they need to hire Florence Pugh to both free the nipple and protest save the save
There
the
were
green
women
belt.
at the Oscars wearing basically nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge trend to have the naked dresses where
Yeah.
you're basically either wearing nothing underneath, or it's very obvious, like you can see your their bra and underwear.
Right.
And so to that end, like this idea that it's a protest, really it's more you seeking attention.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if this girl knows what she's protesting
Well, I think
for.
most-
I know she got on stage. I think she knows that as well.
I feel like most activism these days, at least this type of shock and awe activism, is more like that. The real question is, like, how does this place not have better security? Given what happened at the Oscars last year, there's still a shocking lack of security at these events, preventing people from getting on these stages. Like, nobody seems to care.
Well, because it's in their interest to let people run on stage and cause something that's going to generate a bunch of headlines. So of course they're not going to up the security.
Yep. Yeah. So beyond that, ladies and gentlemen, we got one more there. I don't know what that amount is. Judging by the color, I believe that's.
I have no idea what the currency is, so I don't know if it's equivalent to.
I don't know.
A 20.
I don't remember what what that color represents.
How about clarify first how much that is worth in USD?
I believe that's you're good. So go ahead and read that one.
Do you think it is?
I think it is.
Okay. It's Hey the dumb chicken said, if that's a French way of protesting, there's really big protests happening in France right now. I'm going to tell young children to stay away from news for a few days. Love y'all. You're all fun.
Yeah, like stay away from the French president. I swear I wasn't booking tickets to France just a second ago.
Wait, what's going on?
You definitely
in France?
weren't, though. I tried to get you to travel, see your family all the time, and Brett's like, no.
Got family in France?
Oh, just traveling in
Christmas,
general.
yeah, I got family in Florida. That's as close to France as I get. So, all right, guys, we're moving on. We got a couple of other things to start this show with here. This was kind of shocking to me as somebody who covers pop culture on a daily basis. I didn't know that Selena Gomez was I knew she was famous, but she has just passed The Rock as the world's most followed Hollywood celebrity on Instagram. She was at 398 million when I checked before the show started, so that's kind of crazy.
Just
feud
for
with
bots,
Hailey Bieber.
For bot inflation, botflation.
Who has the least bot followers on Instagram? Then you'll find out who's actually popular.
It's I also was like the most followed across all platforms though is still Cristiano Ronaldo
Really?
with his strong jawline and the woman he won't marry. Maybe that's why they're looking for him for not marriage tips on his various social medias. No,
I think sports are more accessible to people, like
Think so?
higher variety of people in different countries. Like soccer is
it's
globally the biggest sport,
biggest
so
sport
it
of
makes
all
sense.
time. Oh, they were talking about that recently. I was watching it was like an Andrew Schultz clip where they were talking about like with the 5 biggest sports. And like soccer's number 1, cricket was in the top 5.
Really?
Yeah, like
I thought rugby.
Rugby was in there too, but the no football, no baseball. Obviously, those are very American.
No curling?
No, maybe curling was in there. Have you ever seen that meme? It's like the picture of the U.S. curling team. It's just a bunch of dads.
No.
It
They
literally
look
looks
like
like
they,
they're
like-
going to Applebee's.
Yeah, there's some tweet about it that's like they thought they were going on a boys' weekend for the trip and ended up for the weekend and ended up on the Olympics. Like they're just all happy to be there. Every single one of them has a mustache, Carter. I just want you to know that.
And they're wearing
Nice.
And they're wearing like the curling uniforms is basically just dad clothes. It's like khakis and like a polo.
Yeah.
I've always
Just
wanted
a
to
US polo.
get a curling patch and put it on like a fake varsity jacket to make it look like I was a curler.
And
Yeah.
that'd be good. I don't think I could have done that. Do they actually have curling teams in schools?
I mean, maybe in Canada or something like that.
Yeah, and I think in like other parts of like northern U.S. I mean, we field a curling team. Surely we somewhere have a curling community.
It's actually really funny because I was in an Uber recently and I was talking to the driver. I was talking about how they don't have high school hockey out here. Like,
really?
I took for granted the fact that like in the state of Minnesota, like in Minnesota, you can leave school, no questions asked during the high school hockey tournament to go watch it.
Yeah.
And they will give you, like, if
Really?
you bring your ticket back, they will give you the day off.
Funny.
So it was like,
my high school in Connecticut was really small. We didn't have a football team,
Yeah.
and like that's unheard of in Texas. I think it's
yeah.
Texas over here is like
Carter's like, what that?
My school didn't have
Where
a
did she
football
live?
team either.
yeah. Especially if you go to
did you
smaller
live?
schools, like
North
it's just not fun.
Carolina.
But did
the-
your school have a lacrosse team?
No,
'Cause I've heard
we just didn't have a
regionally-
lot of teams.
Yeah, especially if you go to small schools, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like the boys at my school who wanted to play football played with the local private school. But there are some schools that have like a thriving lacrosse program because it's regionally very
Definitely
popular.
lacrosse is big.
And like it doesn't exist in other parts
Funny
of
in
the country.
Texas, like I played lacrosse and we had to do like one club team across all 3 high schools.
Really?
Yeah.
But I bet that's not true anymore. I mean,
Oh, no,
lacrosse
now
is
it's
getting
like
so big.
Huge. Yeah.
I'm ending the poll since I wanted to see if everyone who saw you on the show, and it turns out it looks like, let's see here, 52% say nope, not yet, and 47%, that's still quite a few, said yes, you owned those modern women. So take that, ladies.
I understand if you don't want to watch it. It's 4 hours of mostly brainless takes. So
I didn't watch all
you
4
know,
hours.
watch at your own risk.
I only saw the clip of the lips, the lady with the lips.
The girl in purple
Yeah.
is named Nicolette.
Oh yeah, I remember her.
So we got that, guys. We've also got. I was looking at the other list of like the most popular celebrities. It's all the ones you've thought of. I can't believe Justin Bieber's still so high on this list. I don't know why that's
I
so
thought you
shocking to me.
meant like on weed or something.
No. On the list of celebrities with the highest social media followings, Justin Bieber's number 2, 552 million across all platforms.
He stays somewhat active.
Does he use Twitter? He used to use Twitter a lot.
And I think he's had a couple renaissances.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
he was popular for his music, and then he kind of was popular because he was getting in all kinds of trouble, and then he got married. Like he's had spikes where people want to go back and check what he's doing.
And he started
He does
yodeling about how
consistently release
lonely he is.
music.
He does consistently release
Yeah.
music.
kind of blew my mind when
Yes.
you were talking about how you think that he's the last real male pop star that was allowed to just be like unapologetically straight.
Right, yeah.
Not
and no one
ambiguous.
even brought it up.
No.
You're right. Never even
don't
thought
know.
about that. But
I feel like it was pop stars of his era, because like even though Harry Styles, I made this point yesterday, but like even though Harry Styles is
Thank you.
ambiguously dressed now, he and all of One Direction were fairly like straight. They had female fans.
Yeah, but
It
he's
was
doing
that.
they were like
He's
too
doing
young
that
to be
stage thing
anything.
where he's taking LGBTQ roles in movies now. So he's fanning the
Yeah.
flames.
Well, I sent
of-
Mary some clip where he was like helping a fan come out by playing
Yeah,
a
we
coming
talked
out
about that on the
song.
show
we talked
because
about
you
it.
sent it to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Carter, what Justin Bieber song would you cover if you had to cover one?
Sorry.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Look, he even has an answer so
I
quickly.
love that song.
Oh.
You should do Lonely.
I haven't heard that one.
It's a
Is that
good
a
song.
recent one?
More recent than Sorry, I think.
Yeah.
I felt like Sorry was so popular.
That was a long time
I'd
ago.
be down to hear a cover of that.
I had like a pop punk cover of Lonely that I liked. But he like in that song he like yodeled. Like for real.
Huh.
It was his first foray into
Into yodeling?
yodeling.
That's becoming a thing again.
I guess so.
Especially
Trend
around here.
started by Bieber. But
I don't know about that.
I would. I like that song.
I would.
I haven't heard
Yeah,
that one.
I like it. All right, there's one more. There is another one there, Mary.
It's Hey Hey That Done Chicken said another $20 super chat to let you know that last super chat was $20. Well, a bit more. That's Indian currency. I'm surprised cricket isn't number 1. It's really, really big here in India. Shout out to Stephanie who told me about y'all.
Well, shout out to Stephanie.
Shout out to Stephanie.
Cricket's
Thanks.
big in
Cricket.
stuff that was part of the British Empire, but soccer or football is big in stuff that wasn't necessarily. So there's
Cricket?
more majority there.
You gotta know what a crumpet is to understand cricket.
Also, cricket doesn't really exist in the U.S., and so that's already
No,
a
it
major
doesn't.
market
Well,
loss.
it does when Casey Jones hits Raphael, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, with a cricket bat, and then says 6 points, and then runs away from him. That's a scene in the first Teenage Mutant Ninja
One
Turtles movie.
reference,
Cricket
though.
Where
injection.
He goes
Trying to push cricket.
He pulls out a bait. He goes, a Jose Canseco bet. Tell me, you didn't pay money for this. And then he beats him up with a cricket bat. It's incredible.
I feel like rugby would have a bigger audience here in the U.S., but it would steal the same types of athletes from football, so it's difficult to get.
My college
high
had
school.
rugby instead of football.
Yeah, some colleges do, especially as a club
Yeah.
sport. But again, it's completely dependent on the desire of the students.
I think now, Mary, it's time for cringe of the day.
I believe it is time.
All right. I'm going to give a content warning that if cringe is hard for you, like if you're like me and you have to steel yourself for cringe to live it down, I'm just giving forewarning here. So here we go. It looks like the vague shape of Madonna.
It's a shadow of who she once was.
Is there I gotta mute the music, maybe.
I think so.
Okay, I'm gonna mute the music. The dancing is enough. The dancing
She's
is
like
enough.
dancing to royalty-free EDM.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm not getting copyrighted for this. Oh my gosh.
It's just like, who is filming this?
I want to know who crocheted the hat.
Probably someone on Amazon.
It looks like a flea market find.
Balenciaga is like
her. Is it drugs or is it surgery that's making her eyes so low?
It's probably shifting
Both?
fillers.
Gravity of the filler.
Who is
weighing
that?
her.
It's Madonna.
Oh God!
Yeah,
What?
yeah, it's Madonna. Like it's,
You were like actually shocked.
No, I actually thought that was like a child, like
No.
a weird kid.
No, I mean, maybe in her mind, she's regressed back to
Wow.
being a child.
a
But
couple of people are saying
she is indeed a woman in her, 70s now?
60s,
Holy.
60s?
64.
She saw the attention Britney Spears was getting from all of her
like, I
kind
can
of
do that
uncomfortable
too.
dancing, and she's like, me as well. Please don't pay attention to her. Pay attention to me.
She's like, I can do
Oh
this
my
as well.
God.
But she seems more self-aware, more lucid than Britney.
Well, I mean that's worse. Somehow that's
so much
worse.
worse.
Right.
That means
Yeah.
it's on purpose.
Exactly,
That's horrible.
exactly.
That's horrible. All right, guys, we're going to get started. So this first topic is brought to you by lawsuits here in America. We're a very litigious country here. It says Marvel wants details about who posted Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania leaks. They leaked the dialogue on Reddit. And they want to know who. And the first thing I thought of was, who thought anything about this movie was worth leaking? Yes? No?
I mean, there are definitely a ton of Marvel stans that cruise the subreddit. And look
No,
for,
the subreddit's
for
extremely
leaks.
popular.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like you don't know what's going to happen when you see this stuff. It's the same movie that, I mean, most Marvel movies are kind of the same thing over and over again. Not all of them.
Oh yeah, was anyone in like the real world other than the Marvel Redditors invested in like the plot of Ant-Man Quantumania? I
Maybe
don't
they
think.
leaked it to
No.
generate interest.
I was just thinking that,
Yeah.
like, oh, they heard about.
Well, then why
this
would they
new
be-
PR tactic.
Oh, and now they're performatively angry at
Yeah.
whoever.
They have to be angry to cover
Whoever
the fact that
leaked
they
it.
leaked it.
Also,
to try and
people-
get you to want to watch it.
It's
also-
still in theaters, so
It's possible they could use it as an excuse. Like, this is why the movie bombed. It's going to lose money. They're saying this movie's going to lose money. It's going to be the first Marvel movie that doesn't profit
Like
at all.
people just read the script and are like, I
as
don't need
if.
to see it now.
Right?
because
So-
they're investing hundreds of millions of dollars into movies that have no actual substance.
Yep. So,
Sequels upon sequels that have no actual plot.
So the strategy works either way. If it helps them see a second win,
Right.
more people going to the theater, great. And if it makes it so they have something to blame, even better.
We put all the budget into the costumes
it's
and got no
not-
storyline.
it's not like Marvel movies are like somebody mentioned M. Night Shyamalan movies. You're not looking for some crazy twist at the end. You could make the argument that leaking the post-credit scene could be like bad, but
The post-credit
really.
scene was literally the narrative shift point of the movie that mattered. The rest of the movie could have been here nor there. It did not matter. Any of the story about Ant-Man was completely irrelevant. It was only about Kang the entire time,
Well, who's
and
going
like
to become
by
relevant?
necessity shifting him into focus, which was both of the post-credit scenes' purpose.
Yep. So it says a request filed Friday, March 10th on behalf of Marvel in federal district court in California asked the court to issue a subpoena to compel Reddit to identify the person or group responsible for sharing dialogue from Quantumania. I'm picturing like Facebook or like all of these social media companies back when they kind of would like stand the idea of like privacy for their users, and they're like, we're not going to bow to the big bad federal government. But what I'm picturing is like some judge who really wants like a sneak preview of the next Marvel movie, and Kevin Feige's like, look, I'll let you watch Secret Invasion if you tell me if you make Reddit tell me who this user was. And the guy's like, my grandkids want to watch that. So then
What are they
lets
gonna
them
do to the
that. I don't know. Sue
Reddit
them?
user? I mean, who are we like supposed to be afraid?
Sue them into oblivion, I guess. I don't
Is
know.
there a bounty? Like
No.
you get a reward
That'd be
for
cool.
revealing who it is?
Well, it's
then I would be
Disney.
interested.
It's Disney. They could get Boba Fett on it. That'd be cool.
If you get 4chan on this, they'll instantly
I know.
find out.
They'll figure it out
Oh,
right
yeah.
away.
They can find out anyone. They'll find out not
They'll
only the
identify
Reddit
the wrong
user's
person.
username,
Yeah.
they will find his mother's maiden name, his social security number, his address.
His mother's.
They'll find
Reddit
out where he went to
username.
elementary school.
Other
They will know
crimes.
everything. They'll know his satellite coordinates, everything.
I suppose it makes sense, I guess, in how, look, it used to be a very big deal to prevent spoilers from coming out. Oh, we got one that just came through that's catching up if you want to read that one.
Okay. It's Hey That Dumb Chicken said maybe, just maybe, they leaked it as a general public good to save everyone from that crap. They were being kind. That was a stupid movie.
That might have been a $5 one. I'm so thrown
Well, we don't
off.
know
Yeah,
what
Trying to do
currency is. I
proportions
don't
and
know.
figure it out. No, it's Indian.
no,
currency.
it's the color. The color's used to figure it out.
Oh.
So,
Well, don't you just refer back to his first super chat? And
Right,
He said
you-
that was $20.
but I don't know.
Oh,
if,
we
I
just
couldn't
got
remember
another
if
one.
yellow
Got you,
was. I
Nate
couldn't remember.
Parrott said, welcome back, Mary. You don't want to look dumb on your own show, so don't forget to pronunciate.
Pronunciate.
I won't.
right.
Thanks.
But like I was thinking back to like yesterday we talked about Scream 6 and oddly enough we talked about Scream 2 being what is the true highest grossing opening weekend of any of the Scream movies, and they went through leaps, bounds, and work to prevent, because it became a very big deal in the Scream franchise to prevent the identity of the killer to get out. So they would film multiple endings of the movie with different people as the killer. So
And release multiple different.
no, they would do
Just so
it
none
so
of
that
the
no one
actors-
knew,
yeah.
so that none of the
okay.
actors knew.
Or I guess crew too.
Yeah, and also they
Really?
would the photo they developed like special photocopy paper so that like if it got photocopied they'd be able to tell who was the one
Yeah.
that photocopied it and stuff like this. So spoilers are an important thing to prevent from getting out.
I feel
That's
like
not
this is
up
something
for
the
debate.
Supreme Court justices have to stop doing.
I was thinking
Yeah,
that the whole
contact
time,
them.
yeah.
How do you guys stop leaks?
It's like shoplifting prevention, sort of. You know,
Yeah.
the Amazon stores that don't have workers,
That's
they'll
what-
have extremely developed facial recognition technology for it.
Well, I was looking at this list. It's like a list of movies where like severe spoilers and scripts had leaked, and right on there was Scream 2, but also Terminator, Avengers. But a lot of them are movies where it's just like, look, people are going to go see a James Bond movie either way. People are going to go see a Marvel movie either way,
I'm
right?
sorry, what were the stakes of Ant-Man Quantumania? What was revealed in Ant-Man Quantumania?
Right.
I watched
I wanna
it,
know.
and I don't know.
That you're going to have to deal with Kang for a long, long time.
Everyone already knew that the movie was.
He was
the
half ant, half
purpose-
man.
The purpose
That was
of
it.
that movie was introducing this new villain that had nothing to do with the rest of it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to read this. It says, in many ways, the Scream 2 script leak might be the granddaddy of them all. After all, the year was 1996, and most people still hadn't even heard of the internet. I don't know about that.
Hadn't even heard of
that's
it.
That's what this article says.
I wouldn't
Sure,
know.
they've heard of it.
Much less had dial-up, a dial-up account set up. The early days net, see, remember, like what I was talking about on Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
The netizens.
Anytime prior to 1999, when you want to talk about using the internet, you say, check the net. You don't say the
that
internet,
fun?
you don't
Netscape.
say the web, you say check the net. And it's like a magical place where you can find literally anything about anyone, as if
Yeah.
like you didn't have to wait 20 minutes just to get your internet to load.
I loved the part in Twilight where she starts doing like very basic research on vampire lore. And like immediately she's just like typing things in and just immediately gets
Stuff
results.
comes up. Well, no, there's a whole storyline in Buffy about like this lady who's like she like investigates the same stuff that they're doing, like the Watcher and Buffy, except for she does it like she's like researches online, and so it's like there's like really low resolution photos that are very clearly like art pieces done, like logged up. It's so funny, and it's I feel like we need to bring that back, like vintage websites. Like everyone should get like
Yeah.
we should bring back Angel Fire. We should make the
Well,
new
I think
Timcast
people-
website Angel Fire.
People already are doing that.
Right.
That like nostalgic web aesthetic.
Yeah, they're doing MySpace for like
Yeah.
Yeah.
show promo and stuff.
There's one called like what is it? Friend Project.
We should.
But it's like they're like doing a flashback to the way MySpace looked.
we
You
should
can customize
put
it.
the Timcast website on either Angel Fire or what was the other big one? GeoCities.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jessica, are you in the chat? Do
Jessica.
you hear these great suggestions?
Yes.
It's like and like
GeoCities.
or maybe like what we've been doing is like having everyone like having guests sign the money. We should have them
yeah.
sign. We should have them sign AOL discs.
Dude, I felt so
Floppy.
stupid when Vera suggested that the special guests will like sign these
One of the bills.
so we can frame them, and I was like, how did we not think of that?
genius.
Like it's such a simple thing.
yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, dollar picture frames are expensive. They're like $15 or $16 a piece.
You just do what restaurants do and like tape them to the wall.
We could just do a few of them stacked on top of each other in one frame.
Yeah, we
Wait,
could get like a
I've
regular.
gotten a frame small enough for $1 that wasn't $17.
But they make them specifically for that size,
Oh.
for the size of bills.
Somebody's cornered the market.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It'll look like a Red Robin in here.
Yeah,
The way
eventually.
that they frame baseballs and stuff.
It's gonna become our thing, right?
Cubicle frame.
Yeah.
Look, if the spoilers bother you, like, do you stop yourself? Are you one of those people? Are any of you like those people that just can't look at spoilers before they go see a movie?
Depends.
Yeah, it depends on the movie.
If I'm watching a Marvel movie, there's no spoiler that could
Right.
even ruin it.
Yeah.
Especially one like Quantumania, because you already know from the get-go where it's headed. It's just a utilitarian plot device to move you to the next
Sky beam at the
phase.
end. Yeah.
It's like, oh, Spider-Man 3.
What you're saying
Leak.
about Scream and the way that they like went to all of that effort to hide the identity of Ghostface, you're revealing that team of creatives actually cared about the franchise they were working on. I think that Disney Marvel is way past that point. They don't care at all.
But Marvel used to do that with their trailers, where they would put fake scenes in trailers to mislead the fans and make them think that a scene was going to be in a movie that wasn't.
Those days are over.
Yeah. The example I just give is like there was a version of the Infinity War trailer where Thanos flexes like this with the Infinity Gauntlet, and the amount of Infinity Stones in the gauntlet is different than the amount that are in that shot in the movie. Like it's like I think it's 3 in the trailer shot, and it's 4 or 5.
The Easter eggs.
Yeah.
I hate Easter eggs and Easter egg people.
Mary's not a fan of Easter eggs.
It just
Easter egg people.
Yeah, it's like this general sentiment that like a movie needs to be super hard to understand in order to be good.
They were talking about
So
that
complex.
yesterday. Well, they were talking about it yesterday. They were talking about like conflating movies that are hard to understand with movies that are deep, because they were talking about it in reference to
It's not the
Everything
same
Everywhere
thing.
All at Once.
Interstellar comes to mind.
Yeah.
That movie makes no sense.
I think
doesn't.
I'd
I
look
think
up
it makes
spoilers,
sense.
or I wouldn't care about.
Doesn't matter.
reading-
Just listen to the soundtrack.
That's what I hear.
I think I wouldn't care about reading about spoilers for movies that I'm not invested in, right? But there are some movies where the revelation is the experience, and if you read the spoilers, like nothing happens to you, you just don't experience the movie the same way.
Yeah.
I think that's ultimately the downside. Like any major
With a big
franchise,
reveal
it
at the
doesn't
end.
really matter unless you are emotionally invested in the characters.
I really didn't want to know who Gossip Girl was.
Or
did we get one?
Yeah, we got one.
No, I don't think that's
Oh, no,
20.
okay.
That's 10, yeah.
Okay. Or A in Pretty Little
Or
Liars.
A, was that a good reveal in your opinion?
Yeah,
or-
she was crazy. Mona was freaking crazy.
Well, you just told me. I was
That's
gonna
not
maybe
really
watch
her,
that show
right?
one day. But
Well, there's like 3. There ends up being like 3 A's, so it doesn't really matter.
They kept changing
okay.
their mind.
Yeah.
Gossip Girl had the worst reveal because it's like
They forgot to figure out who it would be.
they
and had
never
to stick it
decided,
on
and then they
someone.
just last minute decided it's Penn Badgley. What was his name?
Dan.
And it was like, you're writing disgusting things about your own sister, and she's just like cool with that.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, like there'd be times that like he would be like, "I'm shocked by this information. Like I'm having an emotional
Right.
response to it." When it's like theoretically you're the one who knows
things that were revealed
it.
about him that
Yeah,
were
it's just, like,
unflattering.
it doesn't make sense.
They did
Yeah.
the same thing when they had the Red John in The Mentalist. The show went for so long, and the mystery around who the serial killer Red John was became so like hard to follow that eventually Bruno Heller, the creator of the show, just went back to like the first 2 episodes and picked like the biggest name actor he could find and said it was him. And there's like I'm like rewatching it and I'm like, that doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
But okay, all right, fine.
I honestly felt similarly about the end of How I Met Your Mother. Right, like it's not that great of a show, but I did watch it for a long time.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Fight.
I rewatched
Fight.
that. I rewatched that now. I'm like, yeah, it's not as good, but like I did like it back in the day. But
Oh,
like
I haven't rewatched it.
when
Maybe
they
that's
like
it.
explain how they're revealing like the mother stuff, like it just seems like, oh, you guys have ruined all of the emotional tension you've built, and it's actually kind of
Oh.
lame and weird.
I see that.
Dustin in the chat says, "Hold on while I die from Gossip Girl talk."
Die as in like you like Gossip Girl?
I
or-
don't know.
I think this is
Like
good.
I'm dying. I love Gossip Girl.
Because now, if you ever go on a date with a girl who's like, "Oh, I like Gossip Girl," you can ask her,
Yeah.
What did
what'd
you think of the big reveal?
We're helping you be a well-rounded person and connect with others."
Yes.
I was watching Smallville last night, and it hit me because I was looking up some stuff about what's it, Nivixen, like the cult that the actress was a part of.
I don't know.
But I've been watching Smallville, and it's shocking to me how much it doesn't matter for there to be big reveals or to be like a bunch of like there's comic book Easter eggs and stuff in there, but it's like anybody can watch that show and love it. Like it's just a teen drama in a lot of ways. It's just all the stories just kind of become like analogs for like teenage coming of age stories.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, good storytelling died, man, long time ago.
Yeah.
All right, we got some super chats there, Mary.
Okay. It's going to be difficult because we're like jumping
Yeah, we gotta
from
jump
the ones
through.
that were 20 or not. Greg Duvier said Hannah Claire should go on the Whatever podcast next.
That would be fun.
Sure, sounds
Like,
fun.
It's you can roast a bunch of modern women too.
for like 4 hours.
Oh my god.
4 hours. Like that's a like. Was there like time to drink or eat anything?
No.
No.
I think that the other girls were like really struggling because I'm used to being on camera for a longer
Yeah.
period of time. So I was able to hide that I was dying a little better.
2 hours in, you're like,
And I
can
was
do
like
this all day
still
long.
attentive and stuff, but they were shutting down. Keys said, Mary, will you ever go back on Whatever? And hi, Carter. Well,
Hi.
hi. I would like to actually, because I think I need to like correct the record on some things. I think a lot of people like misjudged my tone. They thought I was being overly harsh towards the girls, and I want to have a more even keeled perspective and like level with them. Maybe some people who are more like conversational and willing to like debate things. I think they were not really open to debating a lot.
Yep.
Big Dave sent us $1 without a message, and then he said Lady Mary was on fire during the Whatever podcast. Was the after party a little tense? There was no after party.
Yeah, are you in touch with anyone from there at all?
No, I mean, obviously, like we could have exchanged information, but I didn't
shake
think they
hands
were
at the end?
interested. They really didn't want to shake hands.
So they
before or
like genuinely didn't
after.
like you anymore or ever?
I mean, before they had no idea who I was or what I
But
thought.
afterwards, they
anything,
really didn't want to
so
shake your hand.
I don't know.
they all got
but,
closer
like,
together because of you.
Maybe.
Common enemy.
Yeah, a few of them already knew each other pretty well, so they were kind of like they stuck together. Yeah. But yeah, no after party. Ryan said didn't see the full podcast, but would need to send Mary with some yellow tape with those hot takes she threw down.
There you go. All right, read one more, and then we will move on.
Okay, Jacob Edler said, "Thank you for that warning, Brett."
Yeah. Look, I'm one of those people. I don't do well with cringe. Like I avert my eyes for stuff that's
Secondhand
too-
embarrassment. You just can't do it.
No, I can't. I'm not a fan. Like when people post clips of really, really embarrassing interactions with people, I don't like that. Like I don't want to watch people get embarrassed.
I like cringe.
We are fundamentally very different in that respect. It's you help make it work because otherwise I wouldn't be able to find all the cringe of the
I
day.
also brought this up before the show. We could also do cute of the day, like
Yes.
a cute animal video or
Oh,
like a
I can help with
baby
that.
video.
Carter's like, that is my bread and
I
butter.
actually
Yeah.
have a whole YouTube playlist called Smile 'Cause of Animals. It's public.
That's
find
surprisingly
it.
wholesome.
Carter's the sweetest person.
Smile because of animals.
Where are our Carter Simps in the chat now?
Yeah, like I saw this video of a mini horse galloping the other day, and I was like, we could do with some wholesome content.
I mean, most of the like a lot of my my Instagram that I follow is just pet Instagrams or animal.
we could switch it off. Like you don't know what you're gonna get today.
I think
Like-
we should just have like super intense pro children content.
Anything
And so
involving
everyone
a-
who watches is like, babies are cute. I do find this rewarding. Then we can help the population grow.
Anything that shows me like a golden retriever like protecting a child in their
Yeah.
when they bring a child home. I'm yeah. Like,
Yeah.
There's this one of like a baby in one of those little rockers, and it's got 27 tennis balls on it. And it's like a corgi that keeps bringing it to this sleeping, clearly like a 2-week-old
Oh.
baby. It's so cute.
See, it's adorable.
That's sweet.
All right, we're moving on. You know who's not adorable? Is Rainn Wilson. Rainn
Nice.
Wilson is
Never
actually
was.
no, he wasn't. He's actually quite obnoxious.
He's like crying right now. Like Brett Dasovic doesn't think I'm adorable.
I know, right? He had a guest role in an episode of the show Numbers where he plays like a creepy scientist who's like excited that there's like an outbreak going on.
He gives
because-
creepy
yeah.
scientist vibes.
Doesn't he? He does. I mean, the glasses do it for him. So,
sure.
All right. So it says the Office star Rainn Wilson says, "I do think there is an anti-Christian bias in Hollywood." He's right. He was right the first time. He didn't need to like preface this afterwards and then say more. He could have just stopped there, but you can't do that in Hollywood.
Oh, I think this was a $20 one. It's Hey That Dumb Chicken said, only show that didn't overstretch the mystery is Person of Interest. They overstretched the A mystery on Pretty Little Liars too, to the point I stopped caring.
This is your daily, weekly, monthly, hourly reminder to do yourself, your friends, your loved ones, and anyone who you can bring to a TV with you to do them a favor.
Even homeless people.
If you have to bring homeless people into, well, no, they don't call them that anymore. They're unhomed.
Unhoused. Unhoused.
If you need to
people.
bring,
If you
need to bring unhoused people into your home and share your television with them, they won't steal it if you stay in the room with them. It'll be fine. And show them Person of Interest. You are doing them, your family, your friends, your loved ones, and yourself a favor by sharing the joy of that television show with everyone.
Do you remember that? Sorry, this is unrelated, but do you remember when someone posted that meme that was like, I just bought a TV off of Craigslist and the only thing it'll turn on is like a Burger King menu?
Yeah, they just took it from a Burger King. I also watched a video the other day of a guy who buys like a 70-inch TV and takes it home on a unicycle.
That seems like serious balance.
He straps it to his back and just.
I don't like the vibe of a unicycle because it's like, what, you think you're so different on your unicycle? Yeah. Like, I was at a pro-life event one time and this guy he rides by on his unicycle literally and like gives us the middle finger and he's like, F off! Like patriarchal, whatever.
Yeah. I love it.
It's giving Reddit. But anyway, Rainn Wilson.
All right,
here's his tweet.
Yeah.
He said, I do think there's an anti-Christian bias in Hollywood. As soon as the David character in The Last of Us started reading from the Bible, I knew that he was going to be a horrific villain. Mm-hmm. Could there be a Bible-reading preacher on a show who is actually loving and kind?
No, not this year.
There was a preacher character on The Walking Dead, actually, who they did in a fairly nuanced way, and his like faith was portrayed as like very sincerely held, but they also showed, of course, like the ways that living in this post-apocalyptic world made him waver in his faith and question it.
That's not a bad story on its face.
No, it's not at all.
That's a good idea.
But it's like if you show a preacher and then that automatically means he has to be a sinister, dangerous person, that's obviously showing some bias.
The Daredevil has priests and religion. Catholicism is a huge plotline for the Daredevil series because Matt Murdock is a Catholic, so that's a very big aspect of that story. That's very, very good. Like I can think of some examples off the top of my head where they call religion into question. There's a very particular example of an episode of Criminal Minds where Derek Morgan has a very big problem with religion because he was abused by a priest when he was younger, that the character was, right? And this episode is basically this priest that he's dealing with on this case is trying to help him find his way back to God in a way that they don't portray as awful. It's done actually quite well, but of course they already got their jabs in by making his past with a priest in his when his childhood being abusive towards him. But in that episode, it ends up being about cannibalism. What? Oddly enough, back at cannibalism so hot right now in Hollywood. Yeah. This was back in, it was actually Jamie Kennedy.
Well, thank you.
Who plays a guy named Lloyd Phelan. It's creepy. How's that sound over there?
I actually can't
like
hear it very well.
Crashing.
There's an amazing meme that Dane posted this weekend. It says, it's a picture of Pedro Pascal smiling really, really wide in a car as he's driving away. And he says, Brett, every time he blows my eardrums out with a new Crisis Party
Hey,
sound.
I mean, at least it's not coming through the headphones.
Well, yeah, it would be way worse if it was coming through the headphones.
Through the headphones, I would quit.
Well, that episode of The Last of Us was also about cannibalism. And I think that Christians, for obvious reasons, have been associated with cannibalism since the dawn of the religion.
Yeah.
And that's like a very antiquated stereotype, I think, to still be harping on in 2023. Like, it's literally been thousands of years since this stereotype that Christians are cannibals has been
What about the
invented.
Eucharist?
I also think
well, that's why they were rumored to be cannibals.
Right.
Because of the Eucharist.
Beating up Catholics for sex abuse scandals, like, it's worth calling out institutions that put children in danger, right? But no one makes fun of, extremist Mormons. No one calls out Orthodox Jewish communities.
How about public school teachers?
Or Hasidic.
No, they call the public school teachers heroes.
Right. I mean, I think that there's all kinds of abusive structures or examples of
You're
people
right.
who are trusted members of communities, especially religious communities that are not necessarily Christian, abusing children or minors who are put into their care. I think it's interesting that there is only one avenue under which we can explore this and beat it up, which is Christianity, but specifically Catholicism.
Yeah.
Dancing TikTok nurses that steal your wallet when you die. Like, remember that one? The lady who she stole money out of a dead person's wallet and then used it on used it on a vending machine. I remember they did a storyline.
And she admitted it, like,
yeah,
on TikTok?
well, they caught her on security camera.
Well, of course.
But yeah, like it's like, well, I can imagine like
goodness.
in the vapid world we live in nowadays, actually them believing that it's okay to use the excuse. Well, they're not using it anymore.
It's like how to earn your way into hell immediately with one action.
Yeah. So
awful.
he after he probably got some support for this from people that he fundamentally doesn't like, Rainn Wilson then had to reel his comment back by making fun of Fox
Yes.
News.
They published an article about his tweet, and then he followed it up and he said, "Here's a couple of funny things about the anti-Christian bias in Hollywood. My opinion tweet was picked up as front page news by Fox News. Talk about bias. An organization created as a corporate shill to create division solely for profit based on culture war outrage. Print that."
Oh, take that, you
He
incels.
could drop Fox News and put in HuffPost or CNN. Or
Yeah.
anything
Literally
else.
any
like
news
any
outlet.
news organization ever.
But that's expecting him to be like aware of the world.
I don't even think
He's
he
an
wrote this. I think his
actor.
publicist wrote it.
Yeah.
He said, "Also, I'm not even a Christian."
He isn't.
Well,
though.
we didn't think that you were. Of course, it's true that the evangelical political coalition is doing a great deal of damage to our country, banning books, banning freedoms, denying inconvenient science, taking a grotesque anti-LGBTQ plus platform.
By banning books, they mean pornography for children, basically.
It's
just so bigoted and
ostensibly the
backwards.
left that is trying to ban books and
I know.
abridge books because they're inconvenient.
because if
I
you
was
make
at
like
Walmart looking at
sensitivities.
Dr. Seuss books this weekend, and I Googled like which 6 books are banned, and I couldn't find them. And I was trying to I was like, maybe this is my last chance.
Yeah.
Because if
They're
you
gone.
like Aldous Huxley, you're an alt-right Yahtzee who's
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
What a fantastic term. Thank you.
yes.
or Joseph Conrad, or
Yeah, or C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis was on that list
Scott
too.
Fitzgerald.
And George Orwell. Those were the main names on there for the books that, if you like, you might be a little bit suspicious to the UK government.
Wow.
But that's just fine for Rainn Wilson as long as you're not banning books that have really disgusting images in not libraries, but libraries at schools, which they never seem to articulate when they make those complaints, nor do they ever articulate when they talk about anti-this stance, LGBTQ stance, they refuse to admit that it has to do with children and not to do with adults.
Right, exactly. Well, he's just touting the lines that you're supposed to say if you're an establishment celebrity.
I guarantee you, like you said, you think his publicist wrote this. Like he probably got like a frantic text from his
Well,
publicist.
he ended it like this. He said, "Most Christians that I know are kind, accepting, and loving, and seeking to make the world a better place. They should also be honored in the media."
He's asking for a level of nuance that Hollywood is absolutely not willing to
Well,
do anymore.
he's asking for only the Christians that fit his particular description of a good person to be honored in the media, meaning they have to agree with all of his political positions, all of his beliefs about science and what the science says,
The science.
all of his beliefs about, social issues and homosexuality. Like, literally, you have to go down the list and check every one of his boxes in order to be worthy of not being villainized.
It's
So I don't really see this as a sincere gesture of like unity
Yeah.
or, him standing up for people that are unfairly maligned.
I do think it's kind of dumb that like Fox News picked it up as some like, look at this crazy.
They're the worst
Like, they
of
get
it.
a little bit desperate for like
They
any
get a
kind of
crumb.
affirmation.
Validation.
One crumb of validation from Hollywood.
Anytime.
Here we go, team. Like, if it was him and everyone he worked with on a movie, like, if it was an actor who said, I got this script, I feel uncomfortable with it, it's very anti-Christian, I'm not a Christian, but I feel like, if it was a bigger gesture than just, like, one-off tweet, like, maybe let's turn it into something. But,
Yeah.
come on, Fox News, chill out.
Fox gets very desperate for like, look at this person who made
you
this
just-
like sensible post.
Right, and
They're
you-
so clearly on our side.
Yeah, and the thing is, you just never know who's going to be like, no, I'm doubling down and I agree with it, and the story is
Yeah.
going to be bigger. So I understand the instinct to be the first to report it. It's just like, calm down.
Not everyone can be Candace Cameron Bure. Not
Yeah.
everybody. Do you remember the episode of House where they have the priest that gets transferred from parish to parish because he was accused of stuff with a kid,
Yeah.
and then they find out at the end the kid lied
Yeah.
about it basically, and the priest didn't out him and like basically accepted it as what was happening as God's
for him,
will.
yeah.
With Jimmy Simpson, from the actor Jimmy Simpson, like incredible episode that because it starts off the way you'd expect most anti-Christian
Yeah.
Hollywood stories to go, and then actually takes a surprising turn the other direction.
I actually like the way House talked about religion because they presented Christianity in a couple different contexts. I can think of that episode. There was another one where there was like a young teenager who was like a faith healer, and he was actually apparently giving out like STDs, and that's what like cured one cancer. It was super weird. But also the blonde Australian doctor like left ministry to become a doctor. Like it came up a lot, and especially in the idea of hospital and faith and prayer. Like I think they show, even though obviously Greg House is like religion's dumb or whatever else, like it had it wasn't just one-off episode.
He does have the intense annoyance at people who have faith, because he says, I never understood why people think it's something to be proud of to believe in something with no evidence at all. And
That's
that
the
really
point.
that really irks him because he's so
But he's also not a likable protagonist,
No,
and that was at a time when Hollywood had the sophistication to use unlikable protagonists
I mentioned that
to
in the
write
tweet.
more complex stories. Now, if you wanted to have an unlikable protagonist, you'd probably make him Christian.
Yeah.
And I just saw this tweet from Brittany Martinez of EV Magazine, by the way. And I didn't make this connection, but she said that David in the video game was not a pastor.
No.
So I remembered him being religious, though. Like, I thought that was an aspect of it, but maybe, they did decide to, like, make that change.
Yep.
I knew it was the same thing when they introduced Bill as a libertarian, though. Like, when they
Subvert
portray this guy
expectations.
who is, a prepper, and he is a gun owner, and he believes in freedom, they're like, we're gonna, throw you for a loop.
Yeah.
Guess what? He's gay.
That
and
wouldn't
then they're
actually offend any libertarian.
any real libertarian. But like, they did that to, of course, subvert your expectations, but also because they are like subconsciously thinking that like being gay is weird and like off the wall and crazy.
I watched the movie, the Luther movie that came out over the weekend, and basically the plot of this movie is like Andy Serkis's villain is like he's like both a catfish and a blackmailer. So like he gets people to do what he wants by, manipulating them. And he gets like one cop to basically take himself out. And the cop never, as far as I remember, unless I missed something, he doesn't say what it is that he did that was so bad that he didn't want it to get out. I'm like, if they make this, I was just sitting here, I'm like, if they make this about him being gay and he's like afraid of it getting out in the year 2023, which is totally something Hollywood would do, be so disconnected from reality to think that would be something that would prevent someone from, that would cause someone to take their own life as a cop or something like that. Like maybe there's an extreme example of that, but on the whole, it's so much more accepted in society now that it doesn't stand up as a plot device. They just don't know how to do religion in Hollywood.
Still feel like they're countercultural, right? And I think Barry's right. She said this before, that they're saying, no, we love Christians as long as Christians' beliefs don't violate anything that makes us uncomfortable, right? They aren't willing to reconcile with their neighbors who believe differently with them, and to have the discussion and to realize that like people can still be good even if they don't conform to the way you believe the world should be. And I think that's where Christians are often unwilling to call out sort of anti-Christian bias in Hollywood. Now they do kind of, but like it's been going on for a long time, and they were like, well, people disagree with us. They're much more tolerant of a mixed view of their position, and that's not true of basically the secular left.
Yep. And they don't allow any other religions to fall under the same microscope. Not really. I remember a rare episode of Blue Bloods that discussed Orthodox Judaism that had to do with dealing with like the death of a rabbi. That was actually kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Like because they had to bring in a police officer who was a police officer that was a Hasidic Jew growing up but left the faith. And that was actually really interesting.
I mean, especially in Brooklyn, Hasidic Jewish community had a really hard time during COVID because so much of their cultural practice involves being together in celebration or going to the synagogue and things like that. And so we have these like moments where our regulations come up against religions. It's not always Christianity. It's just Hollywood only feels comfortable talking about Christianity.
Yeah, it's the only one
and
that they can.
Christianity allows it in a lot of ways because they preach tolerance.
Yep. All right, Mary, we got some super chats there.
Bobcat said, Brett, you can get all of GeoCities. It was backed up and uploaded before the site went down.
Oh, that's amazing.
Is it? Because I looked for my old band's first website. I couldn't find it.
My favorite is like I hate that when stuff just goes missing. One of my favorite podcasts of all time was a review podcast for the show Person of Interest. It was called Podcast of Interest, and it was like hosted on GoDaddy or whatever, and just gone. Like it just like they lost the files. And I reached out to the guy who made the podcast. I'm like, is there a way that this is like uploaded somewhere else, or like can I buy I wanted to buy the recordings of the episodes, and he's like, I can check for you, and I never heard back from him.
Darn.
So bummed me out.
Sandy Cheeks the Squirrel said, this is $10. YouTube is being stupid with the colors.
Nah, well, thank you.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I don't know why it's why it does that sometimes. So I got to make a note there. So orange is pink, or orange is pink. That
20 is pink.
20 is, but Nate Parrott's
Right.
is $20 and it's orange.
I don't know.
I feel like this is an
I guess we'll have to-
off-camera review.
We'll have to take all of your word.
There's one right now that just
Oh.
came through from. There you go.
Okay, that's Danza-tastic said, glad to have Mary back. You were great on the Whatever podcast. If they ever needed an emergency co-host, you would put a bunch of people in their place. Crisis actor out. I'm surprised you all haven't gotten more into video games. Hopefully soon.
Is Danza-tastic a Tony Danza reference? I do wonder.
Maybe.
Look, I personally don't have the time for video games. I work so much.
Very
that,
busy. He's a mature man.
But
Are you a video game guy, Carter?
No. I mean, I used to be when I was a kid.
Chris Burtman is the guy around here that's the most into video
Dane
games.
was-
Chris Burtman and Dane.
Chris, he plays less. He keeps up with news more.
Yeah.
Chris,
Yep.
Dane, Chuck, and like a bunch of those guys play online together.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So there is a union.
There's
for
a
video
coalition.
games.
I'm not very
When
good.
I get home, when I get done with work, all I want to do is watch reruns of
Buffy.
All I want to do is have a glass of wine and put my feet up.
Is
says Brett.
but no, like
I
wine
have
for
to
you.
watch The Last of Us tonight.
I will
so-
say it was the shortest of all the episodes.
But there were two of them, weren't there?
No, it's one last episode. It's only 53 minutes.
Okay.
It's like
I feel less bad now.
When I heard that, my heart like soared.
I thought it was going to be a 2-episode finale.
No, it's just one.
That's
it's
amazing.
It's fine.
Okay.
So, yep.
Bobcat said, are any of you old enough to remember when AOL came on floppy disks?
Yes,
I
I
used
do.
to use a bit of tape to reformat them in backups shareware games. What the hell? I don't know what that means.
Mary's like, you're speaking gibberish to me.
I think I just saw this announcement that like Chuck E. Cheese got rid of its last floppy disk recently.
Why did it have
What
like
do they have
Replaced
floppy disks
their
for?
floppy disks with
Thank you.
with CDs finally.
So
were the
another
floppy
antiquated thing?
Yes, but slightly less antiquated
Yeah.
than a floppy disk. I don't know.
What were the floppy disks for?
I guess
were they
they're-
like prizes or something?
Their music or something.
I didn't even know you could put music on
I
a
need an
floppy disk.
investigative report on this. I don't understand.
Yeah, what are they
I
keeping?
don't know how they work.
All their footage from the...
They're lying. They actually have
Yeah.
more stuff on floppy disks. They're doubling down.
Yeah.
There's like a meme that says like I felt old when my son said, "Oh look, you 3D printed the save logo," and it's like a floppy disk. It's like
Oh.
the save,
Yeah, they all make the
printed
save
the
logo.
save
That's
icon.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I think I have an old floppy disk that I gave my younger sisters, and they were like, "Thank you for this useless garbage."
There's
I
one
feel
right
like
there.
I want to say I turned something
Oh.
in on a floppy disk, but I think it was a joke that I made.
Perturbed
Never actually
Alpaca said even Stalin had to make nice with the Orthodox Church in Russia when he needed their support when the mid-century Germans invaded. Leftists hate religion, but understand it is a necessary institution needed for control.
Well, they have their own version of religion.
Yeah,
They have their
Yeah.
own version
they
of
just
religion.
worship at different altars, but
Yes.
it doesn't mean they got rid of it.
Let's go with one more, and then we'll move on.
Okay. Old Warrior 34 said the amount of convolution that became the Red John mystery was mind-numbing, like the conspiracy ballooned to such a ridiculous degree. It pulled me out of the show entirely.
It became like a a weird thing where it was like it became like a society of evil cops, and they had to use like who had the poem "Tiger Tiger Burning Bright." Was that
I should know that.
Blake, William Blake. Yeah,
Yes.
like that's like a code word that they had to use to identify other members of the thing, and like anybody who like watched the show even a rudimentary amount could like find timeline plot holes. Like there's no way
What
this
show
could.
is this?
The Mentalist. Yep, it's got Owain Yeoman and Robin Tooney from The Craft, and Patrick Jane is played by Simon Baker. Samita Armstrong was in it, and she was in the Daily Wire movie. She had like a recurring role as a character named Summer Edgecombe, who's like she's like a escort who turns her life around and like becomes like an informant for the police, but she's a very interesting character.
Are we gonna
yeah, do one more.
go to the next
Do what we had more come through, so do one more.
Okay, Corn Pop said I'm blocked. You are not blocked.
If you-
I don't know.
Well, he was saying some
Mentally, he's
fiery
got writer's
stuff.
block.
Yep. All right.
I promise we do not block people. One other person thought that.
Yep. But then they found out that they weren't.
We
so
do not do that.
All right, guys, we are moving on. So, a big thing that came in the news recently, we've talked about Ozempic a few times, and what's weird is I've started to see more things come up on my Instagram story with like fitness influencers talking about it.
It seems like something that could freaking like kill you if you overdid it or you do it long term.
That's what a doctor told me on Instagram Reels.
Yeah, there's literally already an eating disorder that is specific to people with type 1 diabetes who are reliant on insulin, where they just underdose their insulin so that they don't take in the sugar that they eat, and then they get to dangerously low weights based on that.
And there's
That could literally kill you.
Bodybuilders use that.
Yeah.
And that's where they talk about it a lot. But Jamila Jamil was talking about it in the context of there's a very serious, what she called a toxic diet culture around the Oscars, meaning that the women want, I mean, maybe the men too, I don't know, but it seems like it would affect the women more, right? They want to fit into their dresses.
Tim just said there's Chinese food in the kitchen, and
Mary's like,
that.
I don't want to fit into my dress right now. I want some Chinese food.
but is
do
it
you
up
think-
here? That's the question.
Do you think that it's rude to speculate as to like whether Mindy Kaling has taken Ozempic because of her weight loss?
I mean,
Like, is that mean? I don't know. She's
like it's a
claimed-
compliment.
I saw a dietitian do a review of this because she put out like a smoothie for breakfast, and I had turkey sandwich for lunch, and like just tried to say it was like eating and being more active, right? And the doctor was like, the thing is, based on how rapidly she's lost weight on her public appearances and photos, like there's no way she didn't have some kind of intervention,
especially at her age.
and because this is the big thing that's being offered right now, it makes sense, right? I mean,
you could do both. You could restrict your diet, change your diet, and also supplement it with taking Ozempic. But I just hate that it's the body positivity people that always lie about this stuff. When they make the what I eat in a day videos or like their workout videos, it's always misrepresenting things. Even models do this. They show their cheat day. They show, their normal day, not what they do on the majority of the time.
Yeah.
Because they want people to think that this is effortless, but no beauty that you see from Hollywood is effortless.
Well, even the men and women who compete in like bodybuilding or physique competitions will tell you that like, look, this is not how we look year round.
Dude, I can tell you firsthand, having lived with my brother when he won Mr. SMU for the bodybuilding thing, he was going to law school. He was like working out twice a day, eating a deficit. Like he was always dehydrated, barely eating anything except for like pounds of ground turkey. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
Sounds disgusting.
He was like, you could tell he was draining on his mood and stuff. It was insane.
It's not good for you. Like here's Jamila Jamil's quote regarding all of this around the Oscars. So it says, a lot of discourse about how skinny everyone is at the Oscars this year. Many people start dieting unsustainably like effing mad just after Christmas for this one night on the global stage. A lot of people this year took weight loss injections which don't keep the weight off permanently. I'm not being judgmental. I just don't want you to be triggered or to make make any sudden decisions because of the images of impossible standards that come out today. It is a temporary extreme. None of this lasts. Very rarely is it unrestricted and healthy. Don't shame yourself because you don't look like these women did last night. Disclaimer, this doesn't apply to all people at the Oscars. So there's some good people, I imagine, like Donald Trump.
I don't think it's even morally
very
wrong
fine people
to, do restrictive diets, to take Ozempic or other weight loss drugs. I think it becomes wrong when you start being dishonest about it and also preaching to other people that they should be accepting of a diversity of body types and sizes when you yourself are, of course, like very fascistic about how you look and your public appearances, and you have to be the skinniest in the room. That's how they feel privately. They're not willing to project that outwards because it would ruin the image that they're effortlessly beautiful on the surface and inside.
Yeah.
That they just pull it off. They just pull it off with no work at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the dishonesty about medical intervention, right? There are lots of people who seek medical intervention to help with weight loss for a variety of reasons. And I think then, especially like, I thought this with Kim Kardashian when she lost all that weight to try and fit into Marilyn Monroe's dress. Like, there's
then
no
tore
way
it,
she was
damaged
not.
it
I wouldn't be
permanently.
surprised if she was not using if she was using Ozempic. Like, she was using it like. She was losing weight so quickly, and she's saying, "Oh, it's diet and exercise. Like, I just said no to sugar, and you can too." Like, these people will then go on
Beyond
to try,
Meat.
right? Like, if Mindy Kaling goes on to be like, "Oh, I'm actually now doing partnerships on Instagram with this whatever diet company or this supplements company," like,
Or these leggings.
right?
These
It
workout
all
clothes.
becomes something that they then profit off of, having been dishonest. The leggings bothers me a little bit less because like she can wear leggings and get injections, right? But the like supplements or stuff that like there's no consistent proof that it helps you lose weight, like by then implying, even though you didn't, but just implying that this is the kind of stuff that you took to lose weight.
I've actually done this.
have?
I've had it. So I used to model, right? I had this fitness modeling job, and like it was for this company. It was for essentially a pyramid scheme of weight loss.
Did you know at the time?
No, I had no idea.
young,
I was
poor
booked through
model.
somebody else. All I did was send in, pictures and stuff. So I got there and like we were supposed to be signing people up for like people would come in and of course they had like the stars of the program there
sorry,
that
we-
lost
we've
all
got
this
a
weight.
Super
Super
chat.
chat.
Read it.
Not Tim Burton said, so Timcast Game Development Divisions is defunct. Also, Timcast hiking group when West Virginia is great for hiking.
Game development is not
as
defunct.
far as we know,
Nope.
no.
But we weren't talking about developing games. We were talking. Those questions were about playing games, and yeah.
There's poker with the boys.
Yep.
That's happening.
We had a hiking group for a while. It's just it got cold.
There was an amazing part where a day when Hannah Claire comes up to me and she goes, "You want to go hiking with us?" And I'm like, "No."
Okay,
To
Carter.
be fair, he also rejects
No,
me when I'm
there's-
like, "Do you want to get food?
Oh, there's another
do you want to
one?
do anything at all?" Brett's like, "No."
Disco Jensen said entire generations weren't disciplined for overeating and not exercising. They were rewarded for mediocrity and uplifted for delusional self-image. It's really not fair to expect healthy results, all a lack of self-control.
I mean, in most cases, right? Like there are cases where people have what is like hormone imbalances.
I know, but
they're
that's
very
not
rare.
the point.
They're
and
very
like
rare.
Mindy Kaling, when she is explicitly asked, how did you lose the weight? She says, oh, I just ate all the same things I eat now, but just a little bit less of them.
I just cut my dose down,
And
my portion size down.
Like that is, how you realistically lose weight for the long term, but that's not how you drop tens of pounds in a very short period of time and show up at an award show being a certain size. That's not how that works. And we're not that gullible, hopefully. But, it's the same thing when people lie about plastic surgery. If you got the results you wanted and you looked as beautiful as you wanted to look after getting this surgery or these injections or fillers or whatever, then why would it be a problem to admit that you did it artificially if you got what you wanted in the end?
Yeah.
It's because we all know that it's better to be born beautiful than to buy being beautiful.
Yeah.
It just is.
Which is why they don't like to admit to the surgeries they've had, even when they've clearly had them.
That's why, that model that Bella Hadid is modeled after, Carla Bruni, is always going to be better than Bella Hadid because Bella Hadid doesn't look like that.
Yeah, she's a counterfeit.
Yeah.
I think with Mindy Kaling, if she had just said, like, yeah, I had 2 kids in recent history and I wasn't losing the weight that I wanted to, so I turned to medical intervention, no one would have freaked out, right? Like, especially if she's being monitored by a doctor, it is an off-label use for this drug. It's actually, for something else, but it doesn't really matter. People use drugs for off-label reasons all the time. Doctors prescribe them with that intent. I think it's more that she's just going to say, oh, I just happen to have more willpower than you do. Yeah. But she's not really saying that. She's just implying it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I just happen to be really good at making healthy choices all of a sudden this year in the last couple
months. But I
months.
guess you're not.
Yeah. It's that idea that she is an aspirational woman to be, and that is because she has some sort of character that she doesn't actually have, right?
Right.
I would value her honesty over her self-discipline in this moment, and instead she's presenting like self-discipline.
And another thing we need to do is destigmatize wanting to be skinny. Like, we need to destigmatize the natural desire to look good and be fit and to be beautiful.
I think we have to destigmatize, or we have to stop pretending like when you gain weight, you have to accept it, right? I have seen so many influencers who, for whatever reason in life, you get older, your metabolism slows down, you have a kid, you just stop eating as well as you did. Like, they gain weight and they're like, but I love myself now. And like, what if one of them was like, yeah, I do really want to lose this weight. I'm not freaking out about it. I'm not going to die because of this, but I do generally feel like this is not my best form and I'd like to lose weight. Like, that sort of honesty goes against the body positivity movement, right? Being unhappy at a heavier weight cuts down this narrative like, well, you're beautiful at any size, and really you're brainwashed to be skinny by the patriarchy, which, by the way, you're not.
They want women to take up less space in society.
Men are way more forgiving of women being heavier than women are of it in themselves, right? And even amongst other women, like, I think women don't care as much as women care about it for themselves. It's very much internal pressure, and whether or not that's healthy is a different debate, but I don't think we should lie and be like, but when you gain weight, you're happier.
The part that it is one of my weird pet peeves, almost to an extreme, where it's like, I have no problem with people looking. However, I have the problem with people who lie about being okay with it for themselves, because it always comes off as a major cope. Like
with Lizzo, it's like,
yes,
if you're so okay with being fat and you just love being fat, you love yourself, you think you're so hot, you're a 10 out of 10, then why is your entire discography like sprinkled with lines about it, about how you look, about how you're so thick? Like, people who are normal size don't talk about it that much.
Maybe it's because for me, I'm never going to have like a strong opinion one way or the other about my own appearance. Like, I don't feel strongly one way or the other about how I look. So it's weird that people
a lot of guys
that
would say that.
But it always comes across as fake and as if they're trying to overcompensate for something that's clearly not true. And the dishonesty about that, if in a way, makes me feel worse for them, because I can't tell if they're lying to me or if they're lying to themselves. But that kind of celebration of mediocrity with no honesty in your portrayal bothers me more than it should, probably.
Where acceptance might be needed is where like self-control is not a factor. Like getting wrinkles, you know, or getting gray hair. Like, Emilia Clarke got absolutely like steamrolled on Twitter just because she took a selfie in bad lighting and happens to be in her 30s now. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And at least, she's not doing what these same people claim to hate, which is, faking youth. Yeah. Artificially, with Botox, with fillers, with filters, with makeup, all of these different things. Yep. Like, that's maybe what should be more accepted and tolerated.
Agreed. There's one right there.
Steve Ryman said, some of us are going to look like Quasimodo regardless of what we do. While not obese, there is only so much one can do with a face like this other than wear a beard. You learn to look past appearance when you're ugly.
Amen, brother.
A beard, handlebar mustache.
Yeah. I just think standards for men are different for women. Yeah. And I think women naturally are looking for social...
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I have a good thought. I'm just going to hold on.
Hold up.
Social.
I think that women are... one of the benefits of being female is that you are much more socially observant, and you tend to look for kind of what the crowd average is. Not that you have to do it, but you're aware of kind of what social norms and conventions are. And so therefore women are much more likely to strive for homogenous looks, like they tend to value looking like each other because it's a way of saying like, oh, I'm with the current and present time. All of this is very subconscious. Whereas men, it doesn't necessarily benefit you to look exactly like all the other men. In fact, sometimes variety helps you stand out to women. And so therefore, like, you probably have stuff you don't like about the way you look, but there are other things that compensate for it. Whereas women have to compare themselves. They don't have to, but they are biologically inclined to compare themselves to other women and say, like, am I presenting in a way that our society deems as acceptable?
Yeah. I got lucky. Like, skating is a sport that leans into being short actually benefits you in skating. So like not being tall never bothered me because I was part of an activity that benefited from being short. Low center of gravity in rollerblading is actually quite beneficial.
It gave you an advantage in the community you were in.
Yeah, so it never and there are, like, I don't know whether for that reason or not, there are more than a few that are short, just maybe because it's harder to do if you're taller.
That'll mean that you like see your body as something you've been given and something you can use for something.
It never bothered me. Like, but I mean, I make jokes all the time. Like, that was a very common joke I'd make. I was like, got a face for radio, but it's like you said, if it's different when you're a guy. Like, I can be like, self-deprecation is not a bad thing in like to an extent, right? Like,
it's different. I wouldn't say it's easier, but it's different.
Like, like maybe it is to me that like so much of society now is either self-obsession, which I hate, or it's people that are faking more confident, either faking more confidence they have or faking that they're more upset with themselves. They are like body dysmorphia. Like, I know a couple of people who do suffer from body dysmorphia, and the ones that have it the worst seem to be the ones that talk about it the least.
Yeah, I think that's true of a lot.
That the ones that I can tell clearly struggle with it, that is only apparent to me because I know them well. They're not talking about it 24/7, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Carter, did you have something that you wanted to finish?
Oh yeah,
about?
the story of well, I mean, it was on the topic of the whole body thing. They basically hired us to, like, they had like weights around and we were all supposed to be shirtless, and they implied that we got that way by using their product, but when asked about it, the people would ask me like, so you got like this, like, you know, doing this? And I'm like, no, they just hired. I was honest about it, but
You're
it's
just
like,
a model.
It's funny though.
Oh, you should have been like an Abercrombie model, like back when those were a thing.
When they stood at the front door of the store.
You get free clothes.
No, you have to pay for it.
You do?
Do you?
Yeah, you pay.
Wow.
You pay for it with your employee discount, and you always have to buy something that's current. So
But what about when you first start? You
I
have
did
to
work
buy
for
it.
Hollister for a day.
Cost
Look at MLM.
of doing business.
Wow.
And you like, it's not like you can buy one T-shirt and then wear it for the whole year. You work there every time like the season changes. You
They
have to buy
should
a
bring
new
those
current
back.
thing.
We need to bring back Abercrombie models that just stand there shirtless outside of the store in the mall, make everyone feel uncomfortable.
That was weird.
I never remembered seeing any, but it's probably because my parents like shielded me from looking.
They're like,
was
do
very
not
young.
look there. Do
I was
not look
very
there.
young.
I also think not every mall allowed it. Like I think you had to.
Depends on the
The mall.
state, maybe.
I don't
funny.
remember.
Standing
I don't remember
outside.
them being shirtless outside.
Oh,
of
they
the-
They
were
definitely
did. Hollister
Not
did it too.
always. They weren't always shirtless, but sometimes they were
Most of the
definitely
time.
shirtless.
like maybe because it's the mall.
On,
of
like,
America,
holiday
so-
if they can't
weekends.
afford to buy
I
a
think
shirt
if-
from the
I-
Yeah,
store.
exactly.
It depends on the state and the
Okay.
store.
All right.
There's
More
a punishment for
conservative
showing up
states,
late.
they were like, at
Yeah.
least have a sweater on.
Like I don't remember them doing that where I grew up in the Northeast, but then I do remember seeing it in like the stores in New York.
I had a
Yes.
I had a
They did it in
small
Texas.
I had a small Abercrombie phase, Hollister phase.
Oh, okay.
We all did.
Did you keep any of it?
Not anymore.
No?
I was dating a girl who worked at Hollister, so it was like you felt like you had to
Support her.
fit in.
She doesn't profit at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Her Hollister
it felt
company.
as if
just
you.
wanted-
I
I
was
believe
like
you, babe.
18. I was like 18, so there's probably
No,
some self-image
dude.
issues there. Like felt like I had to be like her because you know.
Aw.
Yeah.
I had the same thing happen to me.
Really?
Because you're dating someone or because your friends
No,
were-
my girlfriend at the time worked at Hollister, and she got me
so
a
funny.
job there.
Oh, you worked
Oh.
together then?
I worked for one day.
Oh, you
I
left.
You're like I'm
Yeah.
too beautiful for this.
No, I'd rather work at the movie theater, which is where I went to
see.
work.
They didn't offer you the model job, and you were like, "F this."
Don't
It
you
was
see how
just
talented
like-
I am?
It wasn't fun. It was really boring.
Because
I'm
you just have to
sure.
stand there and listen to
Yeah.
crazy loud
Did
music.
it smell really strongly of their cologne?
So strong,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
They should bring that culture back.
Like
I miss
the,
that.
The Hollister, like at the mall around here, it's like not a Hollister anymore. It's like it's kind of like when you look at like a Pizza Hut that's a different business now.
Yeah.
It's like it used to be a
like
Hollister.
They
and-
keep that terracotta roof.
Yeah, it's like still there. It's like it was like a surf shop or something. They're like what business could like most closely fit here?
Are surf shops gonna do really great in rural Maryland?
I'm sure they sell skateboard stuff there too. But also like have you ever seen the old Taco Bells with like the brown roof? That's like the
I saw one in Santa Barbara with the terracotta roof.
There you
Literally
go.
half the buildings I was seeing had a terracotta roof. It's not my favorite.
It's where I lived in Minnesota. It's like it's really funny. Like in West St. Paul, all of these modern houses, and then right in the middle was just like this one that was. It just looks like it came from Mexico in the 1800s.
Spanish villa.
Yeah, like it's just sandwiched between a bunch of really modern houses, and I just picture the guy like getting angry letters from homeowners associations about how he's like not up to code, and him just every day out there just basking in it as he like
He's
waters
mogging
his.
them.
Yeah, he's like, haha, take that.
All right,
right.
let's go to super chats.
Yep, we got a couple.
James Ornthal Wen said, May verbally slapped dem Santa's slogans. Think I know what you mean there. Also found out what 304 means.
What is that?
I guess it means hoe.
Oh.
Like, because on the calculator, if you like
304, yeah.
type 304 and then flip it upside down.
Yeah, that's throwing
I
it
didn't
back.
realize that. Super Guy CRT said, I just wanted to say the studio lighting on PCC puts Timcast IRL to shame.
Oh my gosh, it's so true.
Absolutely. Shout out to Brett for that.
We do our best to. Everyone looks like a glamour shot here.
It looks way better. I know.
Milo would agree with you.
Yes.
Corn Pop said, game over.
Game over.
Thanks. It's Hey That Dumb Chicken said, the hot priest on Fleabag. I've never seen
I didn't
that.
see Fleabag.
I've heard Fleabag is really good.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to watch it.
Fleabag?
But then you have to have access to like streaming platforms, and I just can't get involved with that.
I got
Yeah, it's too
free
much-
access to Apple TV
For
for
how much longer though?
3 months apparently.
Oh,
I don't know what to do with it.
watch TV.
Watch Severance. It's a really good show.
Severance. I'll
Yeah.
write that
Watch
down.
Emancipation.
No.
Watch Emancipation.
Screw that. Corn Pop said, Mary, are you single? With a bunch of question marks. Well, that answer is on whatever. So you'll have to go watch whatever to find out the answer to that question.
Good
It's
plug.
episode 62.
Yeah.
Derek Null said, I've watched since the test phase. You guys have become polished, likable, relatable, relevant content. Take my money.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Since the test.
That is like ancient history.
Yeah, and we're coming up on a year live in April, right?
Yeah.
April or May.
Year of
I guess
Live.
hosting generally in December, year of live in
Yeah.
like the spring.
Yeah.
Crazy, what a ride.
I have my year anniversary in 2 weeks exactly. Benjamin Mauser said, oh, he just sent us
Carter's a grandpa. He's
a
been here
sticker.
forever.
Thank
Actually,
you.
I got here before you.
That's true.
Disco Jensen said, the last movie I saw a religious person wasn't the bad guy was Book of Eli, and some forgettable haunting of movie where a priest exorcised a demon.
Well, I keep hearing from
He unhoused a demon? That's so rude.
That's very rude. Jessica keeps
made him
giving me.
exercise.
Jessica keeps telling me to watch Book of Eli, and every weekend I'm like, I will, and then every weekend I just don't.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard it's really
I
good.
need to
Is
get.
that the one where the guy's on the boat with the tiger?
I need to.
don't know.
I need to get around to it this
A
weekend.
lot of
so,
people have recommended The Chosen as well.
Yep.
That's a popular one.
Chosen.
Let's do one more, and then we will move on.
Disco Jensen said, the narrative that priests are predators is false. Teachers by far outnumber the amount of offenses against children. The numbers are disturbing.
Yep.
They certainly are.
All right, we're moving on, guys. This is another day in which you can be thankful you are not a TikToker. Well, I'm assuming that most of the people watching us aren't TikTokers.
Well,
Maybe they are.
I am
Yeah.
in spirit.
In-
if they
in spirit.
hadn't banned me.
But if you were, you would have to be asking them, what the hell is going on with my ADHD medication? This is an article from Evie. We love Evie here. It says, many TikTokers reveal their ADHD medication hasn't been working and claim they're being given fake pharmaceuticals.
It's actually crazy how many people are all saying the same thing, but maybe it's just they see one video of someone saying it and they're like, yeah,
Or
I
they're
think
still
I feel like my
TikToking.
meds aren't working either.
Well, the thing here
But
is
this reinforces the idea that TikTok is literally just an insane asylum.
Yeah.
that people voluntarily check into in the digital space. But this came from a tweet that said white women on TikTok are reporting that the crank isn't hitting like it used to.
Look, it will eventually stop working as well the longer you take it, and a lot of times
That's
you have to
just
up
a
your dose.
pharmacological
Yes.
like property of amphetamine.
But one of the things they talk about
over time.
One of the things they talk about here is she says, I could have swore my bottle used to say Adderall. Now it says D-amphetamine. Well, I'm here to tell you, young lady, that as somebody who was prescribed to Adderall for well over a decade, the generic is labeled D-amphetamine salt. So if they're giving you fakes, that sucks. That really sucks.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah. I'm saying that if they're giving her both generic, so if they're giving her
fake generic,
yeah, if they're giving her a fake generic, that really
fake.
sucks.
It's giving them sugar pills.
I don't
Like
know
at that point, why change the label? Just
right.
15 years that I was prescribed to it, roughly. I don't think I ever had like the name brand.
You never noticed a difference, did you?
No, I always had. I'll tell you what was awful is I started out on like instant release tablets, right? And then they put me on like the extended release capsules. That was like the worst period. Like I was genuinely awful, like miserable.
But
when
you
I was,
got used to it, right?
No, eventually I went back to the basically the idea is like if you're taking 130 or 40 milligram capsule in the morning, by evening you will be miserable because you won't be able to eat anything. It's wearing off, you're on edge. Whereas if you take 10 milligram tablets 4 times a day, you can take as needed. And if you don't need the full dose, you needn't take it. But I'm guessing that most of the ladies in here, if they're going to get those TikToks made, they're taking their full dose.
To meet.
They
have brand deals to finish.
Yep.
Or else they're going to become unhoused.
Somehow they're still making TikToks though.
Yeah, they're able to
I just
get their
sent
concentration.
you the set of their videos. One of them documented her day on Adderall that isn't working.
Oh my god.
What?
Yeah, I mean,
she
it
did
just
have the concentration to remember to document.
Right, it must be working.
with no evidence that it's not working, other than a sneaking suspicion.
When it isn't working, like when you're just off Adderall, you are the opposite of productive.
Are you making TikToks?
You're not.
That's you as in you. Brett.
Yes.
Like you don't know the situations of these girls.
And is it possible like their bodies acclimate to the dosage that they're on?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like likely they're still getting it. They're just getting they're not used to, or they need more for it to actually
Like an
do its
addiction,
job.
you might say.
And in a lot of ways, it shouldn't be made they shouldn't be made hyper. If you actually have ADHD,
Right.
it doesn't make you hyperactive. It doesn't. So.
Like somebody in here said they wait for like the come up of Vyvanse or something like that.
right?
Yeah. Which one are we watching here, or is it just all of them?
There's a second one where she documents her day.
The one below this one right here.
The second video in the tweet.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Documenting my day on Adderall. That is not working. 55. For the record, it says amphetamine ER 20 milligram salt combo CP.
Checks out.
D-amphetamine salt extended release if it's a capsule.
Salt combo. What? Okay.
So why are you not calling your doctor?
This is like, I don't understand what medication
She,
I'm
like,
taking,
takes them
and
all.
I don't
Yeah.
care what I'm putting
Is
in
it
my
right
body.
here?
Right,
I never
like-
get.
See, it doesn't
I
work.
honestly I never really get pimples unless it's on my period. I'm not on my period anymore. I
Cool,
just had to
thanks
look
for
back
telling
at
us.
that video because I was like, why is this right here? I remember taking that, and in the video I saw I dropped one, so I almost took double. There are some times where I have to look back at my Ring camera that's right there to see if I even took it, because I forget if I took it or not. ADHD things. Good morning, how are you?
Doing well. How are you today?
Good,
Is
just
that
a little
definitely an ADHD
tired,
thing?
so I'm gonna need a coffee. I do a venti caramel macchiato.
She's supplementing her.
hot with
amphetamine
salted
with
caramel,
coffee.
The dog is adorable.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like
Top.
this dog.
and that's it.
He's chill.
Do you want to add any extra shots in there today?
He's unproblematic.
Yep.
Just one?
Yep.
You got it.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. So I actually asked her
So
before
people
I
whose
recorded her, I
Adderall
was
is
like,
working
"Hey,
don't get
can I
coffee?
record you?
I
Can
get
you some of your
coffee.
TikToks?" She was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, of course."
Is your Adderall working?
And so we did it, and then after I saw the video, I was like, wow, we both made that seem so staged. And she was like, yeah, should we redo it? And I was like, no, it's fine, whatever. But I am extra freaking tired today, which is common, like coming off Adderall dosage is or whatever.
Just being
your
alive,
body is
yeah?
Like, do you use your Adderall as a stimulant and rather use it as a stimulant like caffeine instead of a way to get to a baseline of functionality? That's the problem. And like, there are so many people on cocktails of mind-altering drugs, including birth control as well, and SSRIs and amphetamines, that they really don't understand like what they're made of or what they're made to do. And at times, of course, there are like misdiagnoses or, misprescribing of meds, and people just end up completely dependent. I think in this case, all of these TikTokers just see other people talking about it, and it's kind of becoming a social contagion where they're all convincing themselves that it's not working anymore. But also, I get why they don't trust big pharma anymore. Like, they think that they're being fed placebos, and I heard that there's an Adderall shortage.
They
I don't
could
know
be
much about
diluting the
it.
supply.
Well, and weren't
Yeah,
they
that's
saying,
what they think.
Weren't
Cutting
they
it
saying
with
this
arm
was
and
like
hammer.
gas? They were like adding more something to gas to make it like a higher concentration of whatever it's not supposed to be. I'm obviously an expert on this. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if supply chain issues messed with the quality of the product that they're taking. The other part for me is like, if your Adderall is authentic and it's not working, maybe this doesn't work for you, and you should call your doctor and figure out a new plan.
Do they
like
test
she's
it?
not,
No, I need attention on TikTok.
and she's not saying like, she's saying I should stay on this medication that does not appear to be working. Because do you think if you make a TikTok video, your doctor's gonna be like, you're right, you found the cure, like I'll get you the good stuff now? Like, I don't understand what.
It's like I was
get
trying
you
to
the
withhold
real
it.
meth
Yeah.
now.
we
I'll
were
just
just
get
trying to
meth.
see if you honestly
See
were.
if I could slide it past
We
you
were
there.
giving you that
we were
blue
testing
crystal.
your diagnosis by giving you sugar pills, and you caught us, so now you really do get. Like, I don't understand what is like. What is the consequence here?
She's
It's just
tagging
like
her doctor in
unbridled
these.
neuroticism.
I mean,
Yeah.
people just like to make point of view TikToks. I'm not gonna like beat her up for that too much, but it's just like, if you really thought there was a problem, why don't you call your doctor and ask?
Yeah, right?
Women would always rather make TikToks working themselves up into a mob frenzy than
Just, like,
actually
Class
seek
action
professional
TikTok.
help.
I just don't get it. Like, what is your objective here? So you took your medication, you thought you forgot, but turns out you took it, and then you went to get coffee, and then that's all we learned from you today? Like, I feel like I'm not prescribed Adderall, I don't take Adderall, and I behave the exact same way. Should I suddenly call a doctor and get a prescription?
Psychologically, it can be very hard to get off of. Opiates and benzodiazepines are very hard physically to get off of. Stimulants are very, very difficult to beat psychologically.
Yeah.
Um,
But she's not, because what she's arguing is I'm not really taking Adderall, so she wouldn't be she's saying I'm already coming off of them because they're not giving me authentic medication, so she wouldn't have that barrier, right? Other than like, I need to be taking something.
It would take longer for it to work her way out of her system, and
But
she would
she's
be-
saying that she's not getting the real stuff, so
Right, so
theoretically
she'd be
already
technically
being
off cold turkey. and
Like,
she'd
maybe
be
her
in
doctor's about to call her and be
withdrawal.
like, surprise, I actually put you through withdrawal last month.
it would be
I don't
more the
understand.
uncertainty of it, like not knowing for sure whether she's getting the real thing or not.
I mean, that would be terrible.
That's kind of
because-
dangerous, because what if she starts taking like multiple?
Right.
Yeah, doubling up or something.
Also,
Right.
that you can make TikToks. Like, look, okay, when I went off my meds, when I went to rehab for opiates, I actually went off all my meds at the same time, and like my heart goes out to this lady and to people in this situation who are, need to take meds to live. And I had to work very hard to figure out coping mechanisms to deal with extreme. Like, I still struggle with the ADHD. Like, there's a reason why I flip between 9,000 TV shows at a time and don't just watch one from start to finish, right? Like, or why I have a hard time reading, or why I have a hard time sticking to focus when we're doing the show. Like, look, there's stuff you have to learn how to do without it. So I have a lot of empathy for her. And a lot of sympathy for her in this regard for this, but like, there is an overprescription problem in this country. I don't know if that's this person's problem, but between the Adderall, the antidepressants, and all the medications that people are on, I don't know if a lot of them understand how trapping that is long term.
Well, because they're not warned about it.
For me, it was like, look, when I got stuck on the opiates, the problem was like, you can't travel. Like, what if you run out while you're gone? You'll start going through severe withdrawals while you're in a foreign country or in a place where you don't know.
You change your life to make sure that you never go through withdrawal.
Yes, and for somebody like this, in a lot of ways, it's not the same comparison one-to-one, but it's like you start formulating your life around when you're going to take your medication. For me, I had to do that. When I was in college, I had to do that because I would be up for work in the morning, and then I would have, I would go to class at night. So my day started at 8 a.m., got done at 10 p.m. most of those days. And as bad as it was for me, I'm so much happier now having to go off everything. And trust me, there are days when we're organizing this show or when we're doing post-production work, pre-production work, stuff to do before the show, stuff off campus, where I am like, this would have been so much easier if I was still taking my meds. There's a lot of topics that we cover that I just don't have like the mental bandwidth anymore to like when we talked numbers yesterday, right? Like back when I was still, when I could focus better, medicinally helped, I could probably organize certain aspects of this show to make a more interesting topic than what something might end up being. So I empathize. You want to be able to make your TikToks, you want to go to class, whatever this lady does for a living. It sucks.
Okay.
But
what if, I'm just going to put that there, because I have a couple people in my life who really authentically have ADHD, and it is bananas to watch them when they are unmedicated. Like, I feel terrible because they feel so frustrated. They can't get stuff done.
It took 2 years of DBT training and cognitive behavioral therapy for me to be able to do anything outside of just get up and go to work.
It's easy to be like, oh, I get distracted easily. I'm ADD, I'm ADHD. But it's not like that at all.
No.
I will say, though, I think ADHD was widely diagnosed
and overprescribed
in the late 90s and early 2000s, and that looks like the age this girl is. And to a certain extent, like, maybe her Adderall is not working because it is not the right diagnosis for her, right?
Possibly.
I mean, inattention, easy distraction, like these are symptoms of a lot of issues that you could be having, some which require medical intervention and some which don't. Maybe they require talk therapy or different like other methods. So this idea that your Adderall is not working, it's serious, especially in the sense that we don't want big pharma lying to you about what you're putting in your body. On the other hand, I would be interested in a follow-up from this girl if she said, like, I went back to my doctor and they suggested that perhaps this is the wrong diagnosis. I think people are misdiagnosed, but then they become used to the lifestyle or the treatment and the lifestyle that creates. And I get what you're saying, like there is fear about coming off, like what if it doesn't work? What if the withdrawal is painful? What if I, have all kinds of issues because of it? But like, what if this person is just not taking the right medication for her? Wouldn't it be worse for her to continue down that path?
Yeah, it'll become so normal that she'll just learn to cope with it in that way.
Adderall, I assume, has long-term consequences on your body, right? All medications do. We call them side effects, but they are the consequences.
Then you take
of what
more
you're taking.
things to counteract the side effects.
That's how I. That's,
so if she calls her doctor and said, "I think this isn't even real Adderall," and her doctor's like, "Well, why don't we just double your dosage?" Like,
how about we give you antipsychotics because you think that I'm conspiring against
Can't they
you?
test it?
Why don't we just go back to point blank and say, like, well, what if this isn't the right diagnosis for? And it seems like instead of that, they're saying like, I want more and better drugs, which just makes me wary.
I think that it also like, Brett, I don't know what you think about this, but there are theories that women are more over medicated in this day and age than men.
I mean,
they're more addled with all of these different, like, amphetamines, SSRIs, obviously birth controls for women. So that does something like to you mentally as well, depending on the person. And like, maybe some of those are helpful, some of those are not. I wouldn't say like all of them are bad. I like the guy that tweeted this originally is literally in his bio, it says he's an egg slonker. So I'm sure he thinks that nobody should take any medication except for like raw eggs or something. But like, there's this theory that, existing in a world like this is so mentally taxing for women specifically that they rely on a chemical cocktail to be functional and pleasant enough and like be able to work, especially because they're expected to be in the workforce now. And I think it's ironic, I'll just add, like, because it's so often when like the idea of a traditional housewife is brought up, they say, well, they had to take drugs to get through the day.
Diet pills. That was
Apparently
the big
that never went away.
That never went away, apparently. In fact, it only became more widespread. I mean, I guess they're not taking Quaaludes anymore, but like they're taking other things that oftentimes have similar effects.
Yep. It's interesting because, probably boys, I think, get misdiagnosed with ADHD because of the way our school system is set up to like make boys sit still for 8.5 hours a day and then get shocked when they don't want to sit around and stare at a chalkboard for 8 hours when they want to be out and active. But in general, more women, like I said, when I think of this, and it's not meant to be sexist anyway, when I think of like over medicated to deal with society, I think of women on a cocktail of antidepressants, uppers, and then they've got their Xanax or whatever at the end of the day.
Whatever it takes to get through those email jobs.
Look, and you say, I empathize, I sympathize with all of that. As somebody who went through this severely, all I can say is that I hope all of them find the right path for them. For some of them, that will require actual medications. For many of them, that will require actual medications because they have actual medical conditions, and that's fine. But for the ones that are misdiagnosed or misusing, I can only pray that they find their way to something that works for them. I still struggle with it in a lot of ways. Like it's very interesting. When you go cold turkey and then you just live on no meds or anything, it can make the busy days worse or like a little bit harder to deal with. But to me, it's the baseline of your life being more neutral that's better. Meaning like I don't have the severe, like I'm already a man, like you say, I'm already a slightly neurotic person. I don't need more ups and downs than I already go through. And I don't miss that feeling of being constantly up and down.
Yeah.
So.
The other thing I'd bring up at this point is that a lot of our food system is not great, and a lot of stuff we put into our bodies is terrible for your gut. And the gut is where you traffic all of your hormones that regulate.
Where is Luke? He would love to talk about this right now.
I mean, it's a super common talking point on both sides of the aisle. But all of the hormones that regulate your mood are trafficked through your gut. So if your gut's not functioning properly, you can have symptoms like depression, anxiety, you can have trouble concentrating. And of course, all of these things could be intervened with, medication, and maybe that's the right path. But the other one is like, at what point do we acknowledge that we are poisoning ourselves through other methods?
And I think Ian said the same thing on the show one time. He was like, what if our gut biomes are just like
super messed
so
up,
out of whack that this is why like mental illness is spreading?
Yeah, I think that could be totally. I mean, I just think we don't look holistically at all ends of our spectrum. There was a reason why a lot of people or these days are turning to naturopaths or nutritionists or different people who are talking about what you're putting into your body, not just what to put into your body afterwards to treat the issues.
I still drink caffeine. Like that's it's not like you're not doing any, taking any chemicals. There's plenty of addictive properties in sugar alone.
Caffeine is great for you though.
Yeah.
I would say it's a superfood.
And
it's not a food, but
and sugar is very
and sugar is tasty.
Somebody mentioned ginger root pill for good tummy health. I saw an article today that said a woman who she asked for ginger root on like Uber or on like Instacart, and the guy just got her like ginger or something like that, and she called for a ban of all men from delivering for Instacart, which is funny because I get my groceries delivered, and when a girl delivers your groceries, like
very different experience.
They're like double checking with you, and they're like this substitute.
Right.
Guys just make the executive
They're the gatherers.
decisions. Yeah,
they know.
Totally.
It's a biological thing.
The guy's just like, this is what you need.
Do you know that movie, The Breakup, with Jennifer Aniston? And
yes.
She's like, they get into a huge fight that kind of kicks off the end of their relationship because she has asked him to bring home 12 lemons, and he brought her a lemon or something, and she's like, you're not listening to me, like I needed 12 for a specific reason. He's like, but I got you a lemon, what more do you need from me?
11 other lemons.
You should have said a dozen.
That's a tongue twister.
For you to
11
listen.
lemons.
Yeah. And it's like symptomatic of like a larger issue, but like the fact that he went to the store and was like, got one lemon, here we go.
This reminds me, on the plane over the weekend, I watched 90% of Eat, Pray, Love, and that movie just terrifies and unsettles me in such a deep way, like almost as bad as when I watched Hereditary. Like it felt like afterwards I had just watched a horror movie. It was awful.
Why?
It was so bad. Like, have you seen Eat, Pray, Love?
I've never seen it.
Okay, so it has Julia Roberts in it, and
It's based off a book.
It's based
I know
off a book.
the book is
it's
very-
based off of a true story.
The girl,
isn't it?
The
the
book is
girl
very
who wrote the
famous.
book, her parents owned a Christmas tree farm down the street from where I grew up.
Oh,
so they'd
okay.
sell Christmas trees and her book. And also, none of their kids took over the Christmas tree farm, and I thought that was depressing.
Was
terrible.
it a novel or was it based on?
It's based on her real life.
Oh, okay, that's kind of sad. But then we've gotten to this many layers of interpretation. It's probably all fake by now, and like Hollywood completely like juiced it up. But yeah, she like it literally starts with her divorcing her husband, who is begging her to reconcile. He's like, I don't want to like change our life. I don't want to like lose you. I want to work on this, please. Like he's literally it, like all that you can say about
She's
him
like,
is
"It's a
that
no
he's
from
kind
me."
of socially unaware,
Yeah.
like when they're at parties together or something.
And that's his big problem.
And that's all that you were really told about their relationship problems, is that she kind of like looks down on him.
Well, Mary, life is too short these days. A woman's got to go be happy.
And they're like childless in Manhattan. They're super rich. And they've remodeled their kitchen. And she's like, I tried to be the perfect housewife that you wanted. And like, whatever. It's just. So she completely rejects his request to reconcile, doesn't even try, and kicks him to the curb. Then goes immediately into a rebound relationship with a dude who's way younger than her, who is in his 20s, who is like some kind of like Eastern spirituality, like yoga instructor
I love
type.
it.
Then isn't happy in that relationship either.
Of course.
So she decides that she needs to run off to Bali, where she came across this like spiritual instructor guru guy.
Of course.
So she plans this entire year of traveling the world, and she announces to her like friend that she treats like a therapist, that she's doing this, and her therapist is like, well, you're behaving like a teenager. And she's like, no, I just need to travel the world to find myself.
Find myself.
And then she goes off to Italy for 3 months. She hangs out with a bunch of like cool, single, hot Italians who are like super cool and like single, and they eat so much pasta, but they're so skinny, and like they're all so hot. They go to clubs, and like they immediately, also every time that she goes to a new place, her friends just immediately walk into her life and treat her like family out of nowhere, and they don't even get to know each other. They just like adopt her. So then she eats a bunch of spaghetti for a few months and does nothing with her life. I'm also wondering, like, where did you get all this money that
Right.
you're just traveling for a whole year and like buying luxury goods
From
and
her
luxury
divorce
food?
settlement.
It must be. So she just, stole all of her husband's money to travel the world. Then she goes to India and has like her spiritual awakening, and she like learns how to meditate, and I don't even know how to explain that chapter.
They're saying in the
Then-
chat that she did try over and over again to reconcile with her husband.
That's not what I got from it. But maybe I missed the part, like the
Also,
first 10 minutes.
Maybe she felt like she tried to make the relationship work, and then when
It
was too
seemed
late
like
for
her mind was made up before the
I think-
lemon incident.
I think
by
that
the way
was
Mary's
different.
explaining it.
I think that that's true for a lot of women who leave their husbands. Like they feel like they're subtly
Just waiting for the
asking
line thing
for what
to
they need.
happen.
They're maybe not being direct enough, but
Sure.
they're like constantly
Yeah.
like sort of thinking. And I think it's true for women who are married, but also in relationships when they break up. Like they think that they're bringing it up, but they're really not being clear enough.
Right.
And then at the end, they have decided that the relationship is over, and that's when the man catches on that something is off.
I think that's why
course.
women
Which is, like,
initiate
maybe-
most divorces.
Yeah, because they feel like they have decided beforehand. And, I think men can be a little more in tune with their partners, but also,
Yeah.
I'm not
know,
blaming the woman in this.
I think like when a woman decides
am.
that she wants to get divorced, she really has like committed to the idea of turning back. Whereas I don't,
Right.
I think
Yeah.
men have a different timeline.
So then she goes to Bali, and she still like meditates every day and talks to this guru who like gives her free advice and talks about himself in the third person. And she meets this super hot like widower, or was he like a divorcee? It's like he
Whatever.
somehow lost his wife in a way that he's like a total saint. He has a perfect relationship with his son, and he's just instantly obsessed with her and loves her. And whatever, they have their like relationship, and then at the end he like has this ferry on the beach, and he's like, sail away with me to this like private island or some shit. And then she was like, I'm not ready, and then she's just then he tries to convince her, and then she's like, I don't need to love you to prove that I love myself. And then she just runs off. Then she talks to the guru guy, And the guru guy is like, what are you doing? You need to be like ready for a relationship again or something. Again, speaking about himself in the third person a lot. And then she goes back to the guy and she's like, I'm ready now. And he's like, yay! He doesn't have any problem with the fact that she rejected him before. And yeah, happily ever after.
You want to hear the end of that?
This is like a postmodern nightmare.
No, you want to hear the end of that?
What?
She was married to that guy for a couple years, and then she left him for a woman.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
In real life?
In real life. Who I'm pretty sure eventually had terminal cancer.
Oh my god.
I was like, when is she going to turn into a lesbian? I knew it was coming.
I thought she was going to put out a second book. If she did, I missed it. It didn't become a movie.
Eat, Pray, Hate.
I don't know.
So wait, so this is an autobiography?
Yeah, turned into like a dramatized
She sold the rights to
version.
it, yeah.
It's but that movie's it's like 20 years old,
That's a
right?
roller
25
coaster.
years old.
It's been a while
It
since
explains
came out,
a
yeah.
lot of society, how where things have gone with relationships.
We're
these days.
fucked.
We are. We are.
All right, we got some super chats there, Mary.
Corn Pop sent like a devil horn
thank
emoji. Thank you. Bryce E said Joshua Graham from the game Fallout New Vegas back in the day was a character that was a preacher, and he was a good character.
So they do exist.
Yes, Benjamin Mauser.
I need to make like a list. I was just thinking about it. I was like, I should have, if I'd been better prepared.
just like your strong independent women.
Like
list?
I have my strong independent woman
I
list
want
of
your
characters.
90s women's list.
I do need to make the 90s female heartthrob list. I need to make that. And I need to make a priests that are not awful people list would be good as well. Actually, there was a hilarious character in like the second episode of Leverage where like a priest gets like his church is being knocked down. Like they're knocking down his church to build like a mega mall, and the guy building the mega mall is the bad guy, and the guy who runs the church is the good guy, who actually calls out his friend for trying to fake a miracle so that they can't. He tries to help his friend the priest by faking a miracle so that they can't destroy the church, and he like won't let him like fake the miracle because he thinks it's not a nice thing to do. Yeah, I got to make a list. I'll make a list of that next. I'll make a list of good priests in movies and television.
Well, I have been wanting you to publish like a full movie recommendation, like top 100.
Someday I'll
Are you working on
actually
that?
type
Okay.
I'll actually type all this stuff out.
Benjamin Mauser said, it's so strange everyone wants to see people, news media, all go in the same direction. Anyone going the opposite way or making waves is a heretic, and they want to burn you at the stake. With Rainn Wilson.
Do you think that that's true? I mean, I think most people are more reasonable than that. Like the average person, I think the people in Hollywood aren't that reasonable. I think the people in Hollywood I don't even know how many of them actually disagree with the idea that most Christians are good people. I think that they just know that it's not professionally advantageous to take a stand on it one way or the other. So they're just picking their battles, and that just unfortunately makes it harder for everybody else.
X said he's still advocating good people not be demonized. I disagree. I said he was like doing it conditionally, you know? Like he's like, oh, you know, good Christian people should be honored in the media. But his definition of a good Christian is someone who agrees with him about everything. With all of his like secular values. Bobcat said, I recommend you all watch the 2006 TV series Jericho. It's becoming increasingly relatable.
Yep, I'm watching it. It's on Peacock. I'm actually rewatching it
You
right
love
now.
Peacock.
It's got Skeet Ulrich in it. It's freaking great. It's actually like post-apocalyptic in a time when you had a lot more fun and freedom. Like if it was being made now, you'd just be hearing the word fascism over and over again. Fascism. You just hear a bunch of buzzwords. It's Skeet, and also Skeet Ulrich is allowed to be like a flawed hero, and it's good. Everyone should go watch that show.
It's Over 9,000 said, hey Carter, can you yell out crisis party? I kind of miss hearing that.
Which
do you
one?
do it on cue?
I've never done it on cue, but I can.
We have you doing the recording of it, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
can you do that? Can you yell crisis party?
Don't we have to do it when we get a crisis party?
You're right. We have to get a crisis party.
So we would have
first.
okay. So
On the next crisis party,
Yeah.
he
Right.
will do it.
yeah.
Do you want me to do the high pitched scream one?
Oh
or
yeah, the high pitched.
Oh, yeah.
crisis
No,
party.
the
Don't
other
give it
one.
away, Carter.
The other one, the the hairband.
Yeah,
scream.
yeah, I can do that.
That's the best one.
We got to get another one first, though.
JWT said, I love love when Fox News posts those stories. Watching Hollywood trash squirm is awesome.
Look, Fox News is too desperate for validation from these celebrities, man. Like they need to not do that.
I don't think it's they're desperate for validation. It's just like,
Oh, they're desperate
they
for
make
validation.
mountains out of every molehill whenever a celebrity like.
I do love that.
I don't mind that they post it. It's just like
They do
maybe not every single one.
They make some other articles about like whenever there's a person who comes out as like religious and believing in, you know, and talking about their faith, they write like a human interest piece about that actor. And we'll usually cover that. Like we covered the Neil McDonough one when he talked about not wanting to do, he won't do sex scenes or he won't even kiss other women on screen. Unless
What
it's
about
his
off screen?
Well, he's married, so I'm assuming that he just kisses and
Okay.
and has sex with his wife. I'm assuming that's the point. But yeah, they need to they need to maybe lighten up on that because I think conservatives want too much for validation from Hollywood.
Corn Pop sent us popcorn.
Well, thank you. Also, somebody else mentioned Under the Dome. Yes,
Under the Dome was so good. Why did I love that show so much?
I literally tweeted the other day. I said Under the Dome was so bad. I loved it.
It was.
It's like literally one of the worst
I
shows I've ever
think I
seen.
went
It's
to
great.
the town where they filmed it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like even
we had
that
a blueberry festival there.
even that lead actor is like he's not even TV lead. He's like made for TV movie lead, but he's great. he's fantastic. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and the reporter lady's really annoying. That show's great. Everyone should watch that.
X said, yeah, they're all
People are still chatting. It's back on.
chatting. Wait, are we
I think
live?
it just came
Are we
back.
live again? Somebody tell us.
Guys, are we live? Are we live?
They're all saying F.
Put a moon face in the chat if it's live.
What's your favorite emoji?
It looks like we're
I don't
back.
think anyone can do a moon face.
Hello?
Somebody said theirs froze too.
Yep.
Someone tried to put a moon
We're
face.
back. We had a power surge here,
All right.
guys. Okay.
Well, whoever stuck around.
Thank you.
We just got a big super chat.
Oh,
Read it.
shit.
Big Dave said, Hannah Claire, I remember you liked the Monk show. I work graves and run that in the TV when I sleep to drown out the wife and kids so they don't have to walk on eggshells when I sleep. They shouldn't be punished for my shift. I have a man crush on Adrian.
Oh my gosh. First off, so honorable of you to, number one, work the night shift to support your family and then compensate by making it so that they don't have to be super quiet. Also, yeah, Monk
Oh,
is
look at
awesome.
those
I think
moon
Brett's a
faces.
fan too.
Monk is an incredible
One of-
an incredible show.
My brother and I were super into Monk for a long time. It's on the USA Network, a classic. I would make ramen noodles on Saturdays and watch it with him. And they used to do lots of marathons. And the first Christmas that after my dad and stepmom had gotten married, she got us both Monk bobbleheads.
That's amazing.
I know you guys like this guy. It was really
Okay.
sweet.
Do we still have all the chats and everything?
We do have all the chats,
right.
but thank you for the big super
Thank
chat.
you for that.
This next
Thank you.
party will need Carter to scream.
You're gonna have to. It will go off. So when like what you're gonna have to do is
Does
like
it go off
when
before the-
when the lights when you see the lights change, just go. If
Before the
Okay.
sound, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't care if somebody's talking. You interrupt them and you just
Just go.
give them the scream.
Okay.
Okay.
Man, I gotta remember what it sounds like.
Corn Pop sent us an angry emoji.
Well, we are.
I think he's trying to do a
Don't be
moon
angry.
They don't
face.
control the weather.
yes.
Steve Ryman, oh, I'm sorry, no. Disco Jensen said, shame is a natural tool for motivation. Bring shame back. Yeah, we kind of need a resurgence of that.
Do you ever think about the idea of shame versus guilt culture? Like we do a lot of we guilt people into doing things now. Like you're guilted into not liking this group, into
like
liking
the way
this group
that your
of,
mom.
crisis party.
I loved that.
Did it work?
So worked.
I kept thinking it was gonna be terrible.
So worked. It was bold.
I to be alive. Oh my goodness.
That was
It's just like the recorded version.
that was bold.
I don't think I've heard the recorded version.
It's been a while since I did it, so I don't remember what it
Wow.
sounded like. But
Guys, I
if it
know you
worked, it
loved.
worked.
I know
Carter
you loved
with the
this.
quick reaction.
Like that was on.
He's like, I'm a
point.
true performer.
Sweet.
Give me a cue, I'm there.
He's
Oh,
like this.
so
He's like,
funny.
I've been waiting for this opportunity my entire life.
The whole point was so I could make this second happen.
I love it.
But
This
what
is
you
a
were-
reward for sticking around through our like sudden loss of power.
What you were
Yes.
saying about guilt, I was saying like it's the way your mom makes you feel when you need to do a chore.
Yeah.
Like apologize for saying that on Twitter. Robert G. Smith said, "Hi guys, just stopped in to tell Mary you rocked the whatever podcast. You were the only sane one there. Well done, young lady. Thank you so much." Fear Me, It's Breeze said Rainn Wilson has a bad take on the logging industry.
I can't believe he has
as well
any
as
take on the.
Christianity.
I can't believe he
Not
has
a lot of
any
people
take
have
on
a take on that.
Believe it
so.
or not, if somebody asked me like, "What's your opinion on the logging industry?" I'd be like, "I have no take."
And he said, I ranted about it in a premiere I have scheduled for later tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
The Last of My Kind said, last positive Bible reading Denzel in Book of Eli.
Yep. I need to watch it. I need to get around to it.
R. Fontanez said, a lot of these kids will go to the doctor knowing what to say in order to get diagnosed with something in order to be special. It's easier than having to develop a personality.
Yeah. Neurodivergent.
Sad but true.
I think it's the same culture that brings you I just can't function without my coffee, and you're actually like 10 and getting tons and tons of sleep, and you probably
People
don't need
have
it.
the
Like-
mug that's like, shh, like maybe, and then like,
Oh,
okay,
God.
now you can talk.
Yeah.
Like they have
Oh,
like
yeah.
a meter on their coffee.
Like
and
I think there's a desire. We have a weird desire for dependency. We don't
Oh, man.
see a benefit. I also think that we like to mimic like high-strung personality traits, even when they're not naturally
Why would
there.
you want to do that?
Right.
Why would you want to do that?
Don's Herald said, I like my Adderall. It makes me functional in the modern world. I sure would like to live on a farm where my brain chemistry is actually helpful.
Look, if you're prescribed and it helps and it works and that's your stuff, like I said, there's plenty of people that absolutely do need it. So nobody should be demonizing the people that actually need the medication to help them,
I just
with their
suspect there are
day-to-day
people
life.
who get it not just because they're trying to get it, but because they are showing symptoms that you might attribute to ADHD when really they've got some other stuff going on.
And beyond that, just like there's so many people that are just taking it not medicinally, like that's college and high school, and lots of that going on.
Corey Anderson.
There's one from Big Dave that just came through. 1999 we round up because it's takes the penny.
Big Dave said, you had me at ramen noodles, HC. I dread the day Amazon Prime drops Monk. Great show today, guys. Lady Mary, you were the star, but Leah seemed based too. How was your post show with her if you feel like sharing? We didn't really get to talk much. I didn't get to talk much with really any of the girls. They were not very sociable. I feel like I was more talkative than all the rest of them. Which I do like to adapt to whatever environment is around me, I guess.
Yeah.
I think like if other people are quieter, I'll start talking more.
I think you should get the DVDs of Monk. This is what I have been telling people for a
Yeah,
while. If you
no,
love
that's-
something that could be taken away by streaming.
yes.
Hunt down the DVDs now.
Also, the other thing is like if you do want to know where a show is, IMDb has a feature where like if you look it up either on your phone or on the internet, it says like where it's available. Like right now it says watch with Amazon Prime Videos, and then you can also hit the button next to it, which will list other streaming services that have it. It is now also on Peacock. See? Peacock! Everyone needs to get it. It is the underdog, the unbelievable streaming service that could. It's
Underdog is right.
yes.
You gotta wait until you have some like
Still don't
paid
like it.
promo.
I know,
relationship
right?
with
Like
them.
Is there an ad tier on it?
I don't have. I mean, if there is, I don't have it.
I mean, it was full of advertisements
I-
last time I looked at it.
I complained the other day very deeply about the fact that Paramount Plus has the gall to put a 15-second.
Brett the capitalist doesn't like it when the companies are trying to make exorbitant amounts of money.
No, they put a 15-second ad for their own streaming service on the ad-free tier.
But you don't have the highest
Yes, I
tier,
do.
you?
I have the highest tier.
They're
And
saying it's ad free, but they're still
and,
putting an
and
ad.
they're still in it, but it's not even for another company, so it's not like somebody paid them for the ad. They're giving you their
That makes
own
sense.
ad. So I'm like, I don't need a
like
Tulsa
maybe
King
people will
ad.
leave
Are they
and go
arguing?
back to where they came from.
Yeah.
Are they
the ad.
arguing that it's not an ad? It's like the
it's-
same thing as like a theme song before.
Yeah.
Like make sure you
Or
don't
kind
go
of like,
anywhere, just in case you're thinking about it.
Like when you show like when you watch a movie trailer and it gives you like the 5-second thing that says the trailer starts now. I'm like, why do they do that?
Thanks for letting me know.
Thank
Steve.
you. Like Paramount Plus, you're wrong for that one. But also remember, Monk is also available on
Strike
Peacock. Yeah, I am the shill of all shills when it comes to Peacock here.
Corey Anderson said, ladies, the hair is on point today.
Ah,
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Don's Herald said,
Fun fact, we go to the same hair salon. I think we used to, at least.
there are only so many around
I was
here.
gonna say,
Yeah,
how
there's
long
literally
lashes?
one. No, I'm
Carter's
just
like, I go there too.
I might.
well, he asked me, it's like, where's she get my haircut? And
I don't
was
want
like,
to dox
well,
my hair spot.
I'm
Oh,
not gonna
don't
say
tell
where I'm not
anyone,
gonna say
yeah.
where I go, but I will say that a bunch of people from this office go here, and when Carter was like, I need a place to get my haircut, I was like, well, you can join the rest of us.
If you told me where to go, then I probably go to the same place that you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you suggested I go there when I had to dye my hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I suggest that? Because
Yeah.
I gave you a suggestion. If that's the place, and that's the one.
Don's Herald said, then again, I was diagnosed at 25. Children really shouldn't be using meds that screw with their brains, too easy to accidentally cause harm.
Yeah, it's
And it's hard to know how they're developing. So if you start giving them chemicals that are to alter the brain's natural performance, how do you know if the brain corrects, right?
Right.
Like this is true for a lot of things. When children go through puberty, some behaviors or traits shift with them. And if you're taking ADHD medication from a very young age, how do we know what you're like after you've gone through this change?
and second, like adult diagnoses are becoming more common for ADHD.
Same with autism, right? But that's because
Yep.
of TikTok.
Yep.
Right. 1,000 Foot Deep End said, to recover from watching Eat, Pray, Love, Mary should watch The Vow. It's based on a real life couple. It's really good. I'll check out the trailer.
There you go.
That's... Big Dave said, on whatever, red-haired girl was either high or was evaluating her choices. I was really feeling empathy for her. She looked lost. She sounded lost too.
Poor lady.
We should have her on this one, see how she's doing.
We'll check in with her.
Yeah, she even said, like, there was a while where I felt like I was losing part of myself from doing adult films, but
I
then
do remember that part, yeah.
I just ignored it and I just kept going. And
healthy response
Now
to
I'm
something.
fine. Like,
I felt bad, and so I just ignored it.
yeah.
I make
So
this
does my
joke about
boyfriend.
I make this joke about like why men live longer than women, and like men don't go to the doctor or
they
they like do
don't,
stupid
though.
stuff.
Why
and
men?
it's like,
Why women live longer than
yes,
men?
thank you.
Right.
Yes.
But in this case, like,
But women just ignore their mental
you
health
should
problems.
just deal with your emotional issues.
Yeah, but the suicidality is way more prevalent in men.
also, she knows what conclusion she would come to if she
Yeah.
honestly examined that. That's why she doesn't want to do it.
Yeah. Derek Null said Shepard Brooke from Firefly was a religious
And good, yeah.
What is that?
And I'm saying and like not a bad person in the.
Oh, I didn't realize that it was like trying to say good.
There's so many. Like now, I'm annoyed. I should have written down a list of all of the characters. I mean, we're not even talking. Like, now we're getting into like characters that are religious beyond just good priests or pastors. Those would be separate lists. There's
Can there
plenty.
be
There's plenty of
priests or
shows.
pastors in shows where they're a good person?
Yeah, there's plenty of shows that have characters that parrot or that talk about having Christian or Hollywood's version of Catholic values.
Did you guys watch The Young Pope?
No.
Oh, I have been meaning to eventually.
It's really good.
I've actually pointed out like a good example would be the show Blue Bloods. The Reagan family, which is the Tom Selleck's characters, the family name, are all they're all Catholics, right? And they actually have an episode where a lady or a nun comes to him for help, and they have to end up talking about the fact that the church hasn't changed their stance on gay marriage. And it's how I talk about when we want to talk about Hollywood incrementally pushing their values into the public. It came up when we were talking about Yellowstone, right? And how they slowly impart their values on the industry. And whatever we think of that show, I've admitted, like, look, a show can be woke and I can like it if they make it well enough. That's fine. But this is an example of a show, just like the Taylor Sheridan productions, that's considered.
Thank
Again?
you.
Do I have to do it again?
You don't have to do it again.
I missed the cue.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
an
I think we just no. That wasn't a recent one.
No.
Okay, never mind.
It's an example of a show that's considered a conservative show. Blue Bloods is. And that character talks about how he's center right and talks to the priest about, I was like, of all of the positions to not change over time. So they did that themselves with that show years ago, slowly pushing the culture a certain way.
Yeah, I think it's funny that we were like, of all of the positions of the Catholic Church should change its mind on, it's the fundamental meaning of marriage, not whether priests should get married.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there were more basic steps that everyone could have pushed for,
Yeah.
but instead
that
they
would
were
have
like,
required more
this only
nuance.
makes sense to us, so therefore we don't understand why you don't agree.
They also had like an interesting episode where they were talking about freedom of speech, and he uses the Voltaire quote when he's talking to someone about, I may not agree with what you say, but I defend till death your right to say it. And then but in the same vein, he also uses the phrase, like he goes, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. I'm like, oh, he was so close. He's like, because they're fundamentally misunderstanding the importance that they're relating it to government, not to like just somebody come up and slugging you in the face. But everyone should watch that. I mean, that's a show that actually does go out of its way to very reasonably present both sides of an argument when they do these family dinner scenes. And that inherently doesn't make one side right and one side wrong, because they're all good guy characters that are sharing different points of view. You all right there, buddy?
Carter, are you well?
Yes.
Okay. Perturbed Alpaca said, I don't enjoy killing, but when done righteously, it's just a chore like any other. Joshua Graham, absolute favorite character.
All right.
Big Dave.
Now I gotta watch Firefly again.
Oh no. Steve Ryman said, we the chat don't quit talking because we can't hear you, Carter. Welcome to PCC. Contributions by the hosts are optional. I'm very confused.
Thank
They're
you.
just happy to have the chat.
Yeah.
You guys can take the day off. As long as the
Yes,
chat's there.
sometimes they get angry when we they're like, I'll mention the chat. They're like, leave us alone.
This is not a conversation.
Stop
you're in.
I tried
They're like,
popping
"This-"
into Chicken City chat once and like total different discussion going on that I could not
Chicken
be part
City
of.
chat was and possibly still is a place for like very deep philosophical
Yeah,
discussion.
At 3 in the morning.
Or like at times suicidal ideation,
What?
which is worrying.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, I saw it multiple times.
They're basically like, I mentioned the chat, and they're like, this is an AB conversation. See your way out of it.
That's what I got.
Mox Normandy said, don't often get to watch live, but the snowstorm was enough. I called in. I watched every day while I'm at work, though. Love the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Carnell said, Carter, could you make a 3-second jingle in the style of a men's quartet singing Brett Recommends for the podcast? This is
Oh,
my
yeah.
request. Well, we've been needing to like do soundboard for
Yeah.
a while.
I could do that easily.
I need
That would be a good one, though.
Noted.
Brett recommend. I need a Brett recommend sound effect that I can then just push the button
Yeah.
and then let everyone know that I've got a recommendation for them. And now it's really funny too, because like today's recommendation would be Smallville. Go watch Smallville. Smallville is fantastic.
Go watch Smallville.
It's fantastic in the way that like they don't look exactly like teenagers because they're clearly in their early 20s, but maybe it's just because all those actors are older now that they feel closer to teens in that than they probably actually, rather than actually looking like teens, they're just closer to teens than they are now, so it feels more believable.
Like Roswell.
Yes, yeah, in a lot of ways.
Big Dave said, HC, I have DVDs, but the stream plays more shows in row, and I often work 16 hours with an 8-hour turnaround. When it gets silent, I wake up, sleep.
Yeah. I just
And
mean
he
like,
said I'm old enough to have the VHS too.
oh, that's nice. I just meant like if it's going to be taken away on streaming, maybe you need one of those DVD players that has like multiple DVD.
Well, no,
in them, and then it just starts over. But I guess with like DVDs, you have to go through the menu. I don't really know.
or there's two other options
I don't
here.
either.
The legal option is that if you own the DVDs, you just burn them, or you
Oh,
just
I
download
put
them
it
onto
on.
that's what, all my shows are on external hard drives, so that I don't have to put a new disc in. Like that's like such a first world problem. Like, oh my god, I have to get up every 4 episodes and
Except
put
for this
another
guy
disc.
who's like trying to sleep in between night shifts.
Yeah,
I mean, you
so
could screen record
well, no,
all of Amazon or whatever.
handbrake. So you just put them onto an external hard drive, or if you're a pirate, arm AT, and you sail the high seas, you can usually find them there. Though I do not in any way condone such behavior. It's very bad. It's wrong. Yes? No?
Do as he says,
Yeah.
not as he does.
I won't comment on this kind of craziness.
Robert G. Smith said, Hannah, please say, hi, I'm Hannah Claire Brimel. Oh, you can say it. Do you want
Hi,
to say it?
I'm Hannah Claire Brimlow, and I'm a writer for timcast.com.
Now it says.
Everyone
The rest
else.
of it. Do you see the rest of it? Or
No, I can't
It says
see it.
I like puppies.
Candlelit dinners and long walks on the beach. for your new intro on Timcast.
I'll consider it. At one point, Kellen told me he would write me like a stack of note cards, and just I would open with "Hi, I'm Hinkler Brimlow," and then pick up one and read it blind like an improv show.
Okay.
But I felt nervous giving Kellen that kind of power.
Right.
There's a lot of power.
Yeah,
He could
a lot of
cancel you.
power.
Definitely.
You know, he was like,
someone to vet
he's like, it wouldn't be that bad, maybe a little spicy. And I was like, well,
Kellen's idea of a little bit spicy is way different than ours, I think. He
maybe
was willing to
sip as
say
well.
anything if it was a $20 super chat. Anything.
Hugo reached that voice and standards. I'm worried about him.
He made some adjustments to the ones that were spicy.
Yeah, he did.
He did that on the fly too. Like I'd have been stupid. I just would have read it right through and been like, "Whoops,
Oops.
oops."
Hugo Jesus said, I'm a 25-year-old Mexican man and I've never had any sort of meds for mental impairments. Usually, discipline is a raw but effective form of correction that needs to be mainstream rather than abusive.
I agree in a lot of ways that
I don't
like
really get what that means.
discipline is important, and it is kind of one of those things. You have to learn to be disciplined again when you're not relying on medications anymore, because whether you're physically addicted or psychologically addicted, or you actually suffer from the conditions but make the choice to go off of those medications for health reasons. For me, it was being born with a heart murmur means being on stimulants isn't a good idea anyways, long term. And I had to do it because of my predilection for, being predisposed to addiction anyways means that any substance that has any mind-altering capabilities is liable to be dangerous for you of any sort, right? So having to live without it takes some effort, but it is worth it, I think, for a lot of people who might struggle with dependency like I do.
CJ Rules You said, will PCC have their own section on the Discord?
Does this company have a Discord?
I have literally no
Apparently it's in
idea.
the
They
works.
use it for the live chat, or they're talking about using it for the live chat for the members only show on Timcast.
But they weren't sure about it, right?
Apparently it's very...
I don't
They
know.
were like
Sensitive.
testing it out. They thought it was a good idea. I mean, it's troubleshooting.
We have
I
no
feel like
idea
you
to
wouldn't
answer your
need
question.
it because you guys have the YouTube live chat. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, I think Simon on Firefly looks like Matt Boomer with a little Yannick
Bassan. So
thrown in.
Matt Bomer is the guy from Magic Mike, but more importantly from White Collar. But he was also on Chuck. He was a little bit of a foil in the early seasons of Chuck. He was Chuck's best friend, who was a spy. But then Yannick Bassan is. Have you ever seen the show Murdoch Mysteries?
No.
It's like a 1800s crime, like the birth of forensics, and he's like a criminologist in the 1800s. It's very, very good. It gets a little feministy for the time. There's like a female medical examiner. I don't know if I would have bought a female medical examiner whenever the show took place, but it's very good. Everyone should watch it.
Potatoes for Seamus said, we love you, Brent, HC, and Carter. Hi, Mary. I see you're still mad at me about the Taco Bell thing.
Still mad.
Sweet,
What's the
sweet
Taco
Brent.
Bell thing?
Brofty said, buck, buck, buck.
Buck, buck.
Scott O said, Mary, I have a pocket full of hotel soap if you're interested.
Did you
No,
take
thanks.
Did you take any soap home with you from the hotel?
I don't really, no, I don't do that.
What's that about?
I don't like bar soap.
People
I
like take
gel
the
soap.
package, like little samples.
No,
that
I
they would-
get it, but I saw that come up and I was like, what inside joke is this?
Bar soap bothers me.
Oh.
Really?
I feel like it's less sanitary.
I think Luke would tell you that bar soap is like the only one you're supposed to use because of all the chemicals in the bottled soap.
Random
well.
fun fact for you. I created a group on Facebook like 15 years ago that said I ran out of soap, so I walked to the bathroom and used soap from the bathroom to take a shower, and somebody joined it the other day. After 15 years. So I have one other person is in that group with me on Facebook now.
That's so funny.
That's amazing.
It was so dumb, but I
it's
can't believe
important to
someone found
someone.
it. Yeah.
I Go My said, oh, I have nothing to add. Just loving the way Hannah Claire tries to clean the fake cash.
And it like makes the look this
Go to the
shot
BTZ.
this shot which it got
it
bumped.
got messed
It got
up.
To be
bumped.
fair to my this angle, the money guns don't actually collect here, but yeah, and typically when I'm on that side, I'm like stacking it all up. I just can't like.
Yeah, like
Sit
see,
still.
like it's always so impressive when it's
Her side is distinctively cleaner
yeah.
than the rest.
Like look how clean
No,
her
I mean,
shot is.
I think this side, it's because the money guns go this way and that way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but when I'm on that side, yeah, I do stack it all up, and Brett's like, "You're ruining our end shot."
We've got a shot. It serves a purpose.
I just can't help it. I don't know.
For the people listening on Spotify, all the money on the table is being picked up by Hannah Claire, and so now it doesn't quite have the impact it would
No.
otherwise.
Not this time, at least, because I've switched seats with Carter.
High Voltage 75 said, when is Bucko gonna make a guest appearance on PCC?
Seriously.
I mean, we
so
could ask
busy, that
about
guy.
it. The poor guy, he's just got such a busy schedule.
we
I don't know.
we need Bucko to make a guest appearance.
The thing
Next time
is,
Ian's on, right?
he wants to be on IRL because he wants to be around Tim.
Yes.
So he doesn't really like us that much.
Oh, he likes me. He likes me plenty.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna
true.
say, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
Brett
yeah.
takes really intense care of him a lot
Yeah.
of the time. So
So-
we were like doing all of his injections for a while.
Yeah.
he
so-
didn't villainize you for that. He knew it was for his own good, right?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
And he would like come find you when you were like,
Aw.
There's like old like sometimes story posts will come up on my Instagram. I'll be like, why is there an intruder in this office? And then he just like walks in and just like sits on whatever you're working on. 'Cause
Yeah, we
it's-
should have him in the studio for one of our shows at least.
I like the
you
idea.
run the risk of him peeing places. That's
Yeah.
the gamble.
That's the issue, right? Scott O said, PCC, is there a P.O. box we can send super cool things to you?
I don't know if we have. I
No
think
PO boxes.
Not in use
Yeah.
anymore.
And I think yeah, not anymore.
Just a safety issue, I think.
Yeah.
With the
Potatoes.
conclusion.
Thanks for all the people who had to like swat the IRL and make it so difficult for
Yeah,
all this stuff
thanks
to
a
happen.
lot.
Ruined
All-
everything.
And YouTube like shadow banning us for our like lukewarm surface level opinions that are not punchy at all.
Yeah. Potatoes for Seamus said, oh, Mary, how could I ever be mad at you? I actually had Taco Bell last night. It was amazing.
What'd you get?
I got a grilled cheese burrito and a chalupa and a different taco. I don't remember.
I'm
It's all a
hungry.
blur now.
No, I'm hungry.
Oh, and
now.
I got Cinnabon Delights as well. And chips.
I'm
It was a
always
lot.
still hungry
It was a lot
after
of
I eat Taco Bell.
Now I'm
Really?
Yeah, it never fills me up.
Hmm.
'Cause it's
For me,
made-
that's pizza. Pizza never, like,
Yeah.
Huh.
All right, guys. Carter, my friend, thank you so much for joining
Thanks for
us
having
today.
me. I
and
had
for
a lot of
screaming
fun.
and for screaming
Yeah.
Crisis Party.
yeah.
Well, thanks for making it the most crisis parties on any episode I've been on.
All right, man. Let everyone know where they can find you.
I'm about to post a link in the chat. I don't know if it's going to actually be a link, but it's coming from Timcast Music, and it's a way to pre-order Bright Eyes, the song that we have coming out on 3/24.
10 days from now. Wow.
I know it's kind of sucks to go through all these links, but if you get it on iTunes or Amazon, right now it counts for 150 times a stream, and it goes towards our first week for charting. So
Okay.
you can follow us at Timcast Songs. You can follow me at Carter Banks anywhere, pretty much. Twitter, YouTube, and then Carter Banks 4L on Instagram.
All right, Hannah Claire, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at hannahclaire.b. Don't be fooled. There are no other letters or numbers that come after that.
I saw that the story continued
Oh my
last
gosh.
night.
They switched my copy account from hannahclaire.bb to hannahclaire.b1. Still fake. Please report
I
that
was
one.
like, oh, wow, she immigrated to Nigeria.
Gosh, it's just ridiculous. I posted on Instagram, so there's a warning about it now. But anyways, so hannahclaire.b on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter at HCBarimolo, and you should definitely follow at Timcast News on Twitter and Instagram. It's the best. You see work from me, from Chris Bertman, who comes on the show sometime, and all of our other journalists. And yeah, guys, thank you so much.
You're going to get like a deep fake video made of you saying, my Instagram is hannahclaire.bb.
Oh my gosh.
Like, that's where we're headed. Potatoes said, we love you, Mary.
There you go. So
Thanks
even
for the positive vibes.
where can they find you, Mary?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, and you can send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived. Once again, I do encourage you to watch the episode of whatever that I was on. I want your feedback on it, and let them know that you want me to come back for a round 2. I'm ready to go.
All right. Guys, before we go, could you hit the like button on this video? Could you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Could you also check to make sure you are still subscribed? That has been happening. People have been getting unsubscribed from the channel, so YouTube, Shame on you. It's not very nice. Hit the notification bell so you can make sure that you get all the notifications for all the video uploads, for the segments, as well as live streams. If you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Brett Dasovic. I promise you it's more positive than most of the stuff on here. I'm very, very positive on those platforms. For this show, we are here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you would like to listen to the show, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you'd like to follow Pop Culture Crisis on social media, we are on Twitter at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. See you then, guys. Bye.
Bye.